San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a happy Thursday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Always great being on the epic Padres Roundtable presented by Epic Wings. We just had that show finished. That will be on YouTube, or it's currently on YouTube. If you missed it, you can go back and watch. We re-aired that at around 5 o'clock, so that will be re-aired on our airwaves at 5 o'clock tonight. Also, you can get it wherever you get your podcast as well. So, great win last night for the San Diego Padres. We're going to talk about that in a second. Want to thank Epic Wings, by the way. I mentioned the chicken fries. The chicken fries are good. It's like one of their best things. I didn't know you could get different wing flavors with that. But the chicken fries that they brought today, phenomenal. Oh, you can't see it with that. There we go. There we go. Garlic parm chicken fries, little ranch, little chipotle dressing. Cheese, phenomenal. Big thanks to Epic Wings for dropping that off today. That'll put me in a coma. I'll take a nap. I'll probably have to take a nap at the ballpark. We're going to be down there for the Biggest Fan Suites. That'll be fun tonight, seeing the Biggest Fan tonight for Padres and Mariners Game 3. But let's talk about last night's game. I'm going to preface this by saying I jinxed this into existence. I don't believe in broadcaster jinxes. Definitely not. But I think I said it before the inning started. I said, here we go. Andres Munoz in a non-save situation. Can't wait for this to not. I can't wait for this to prove that is such a crock. The whole curse that you don't bring in a closer in a non-save situation. I literally texted that to my friends. I said, This there's no way that he's going to prove that this is like the dumbest saying in baseball. Never bring in a closer in a non-save situation. I got to go back to find the exact text I sent. But I was like, let me see if I can find it real quick. I literally said in the chat about how it's the most overhyped thing in baseball. I said, let's see if the closer in a non-save situation kills Munoz. Most overhyped thing in baseball. And one of my friends, who's actually a Dodgers fan, it's okay. Fake news. Look now, he can't throw strikes. He's out of his element. And he walks Manny Machado to start the inning. Multiple times last night, the Mariners had opportunities to get out of that situation. They failed to do so. But how about the Padres and their ability to come back? And that grit that we didn't see in the opening weekend, that we saw in the first road trip, that we're now seeing here at Petco Park. That's the third walk-off knock for the Padres this homestand. Did it back-to-back nights against Colorado, and now did it again against the Mariners. They were down 4 runs last night. And you know what last night showed? Selfless at-bats. Getting yourself on base. Padres needed base runners last night. Manny Machado said it post-game. Mentioned the fact that, yeah, sure, I can go out there and try to hit a home run, make it a 3-run game, but worked a 7-pitch walk, got himself on first. Had a couple of things go your way. Gavin Sheets gets kind of sawed off. He flicks it down the left field line for a knock. Ty France singled into the infield when Andres Munoz couldn't field a grounder back to him. It bounced over his head. He had a bases loaded there for a second. And then you bring in Fernando on his day off to be a pinch hitter. I thought Fernando got a hold of that one. It just ran out of gas. He hit the ball on the screws, though, but he got a sac fly. And at that point in time, there was 2 outs. Padres down to their final out. It's Luis Campusano. And Luis Campusano goes down to his final strike. And what does he do? He does it again. He does the same thing he did in extra innings against the Rockies. He gets a knock to left center field. Keeps the game alive. Then you get up to Ramon Laureano. They're playing no doubles defense, which was great for the Padres because Laureano just kind of lofts it out to left field. Just drops in front of Randy Arozarena. And now the Padres are one hit away from potentially tying the game. And if they get a hold of one, they could potentially win the game. And Jackson Merrill comes up. He goes down to the final strike. Padres go down their final strike multiple times last night in the 9th inning. And he hits one down the left field line, and it gets chalk by centimeters. It gets kicked around in the corner by Randy Arozarena. And the Padres plate 2. They win the game 7-6 after what was an awful start to the night for the Padres. I mean, last night, as you were going through as I was watching the game and kind of, watching and getting ready for the show today, my biggest talking point today was going to be, hey, you have long winning streaks. They're eventually going to come to an end, and walks kill you. Because the Padres, with the walks that they allowed yesterday, were deathly. You can't walk that many guys. I mean, I think they ended up walking 7 guys last night, at least the last time I checked the box score before all hell broke loose in the 9th inning in favor of the Padres. But Randy Vásquez got back to his walk situation, which is tough. And you knew he was going to have one night was going to come back down to earth a little bit. That was last night. Hopefully he could bounce back from it in the next game. But you can't walk people. Walks will always kill you. And that's what I thought the narrative was going to be. But this team is on an incredible run right now for the Padres. A nice little run to start the season. And I know that you can't, win divisions in April. But I'm going to tell you right now, I thought the Padres win last night. I mean, those are one of those season-defining wins, and they got one early in the month. It shows this team how much grit they have. It shows you how much excitement is around the San Diego Padres. And this team has shown that they are different than they were last year. This is a team that is taking selfless at-bats, that's passing the baton. The offense is working. And sure, all of this is working out nice because you're on a winning streak, but they're doing things the right way, and also they're finding different ways to manufacture runs. They're winning by different ways. They're doing the comeback win like last night. They're doing the grinded out win like you've seen on Tuesday, or the win that they had in the first game in Pittsburgh. They are finding different ways to win, and they're doing a great job. And last night was an exciting game. An exciting game, a huge win, and that's a win that could propel you even more. I mean, when the Padres won on that walk-off on Thursday of last week, I said this is a type of win that could propel you on a winning streak. And sure enough, here we are on a winning streak. This is another win that could do the exact same thing as the Padres try to go for another sweep and back-to-back sweeps by winning their 8th straight game tonight, if they're able to knock off the Mariners at 5:40 at Petco Park. But watching that game last night, Frank, I mean, I'm like almost speechless at what they were able to pull off yesterday. But it shows that this team is a little bit different than they were last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, I posted it on Twitter last night. I said I was never really a fan of the Grit Squad moniker. I felt that was like, it's small time gimmick.
I don't mind it if they're actually that. I thought they were forcing it for something that we hadn't seen yet.
Last night, you can't call that anything other than Grit Squad, because that was the bottom of the lineup that did that. You had the big pinch hit opportunity with Fernando with the bases loaded, at least got a run across. That was huge. And then it's just down the line. Campusano gets a hit, and then it just kept going. Ramon Laureano dunks one in. That was as gritty a win as I have seen out of this team in a very, very long time. And this is the kind of win that fixes your identity for the year. This is a statement victory early in the season that not necessarily just to the fans, but to the other teams around the league. They were down 6-0 at one point in the middle of that game and came back to win. Not quite as big of a comeback as what they had against the Cubs in April a couple of years ago, where they were down like 9-1 or something like that going into the 7th inning. But still very impressive against a very good team, a team that was a game away from going to the World Series last year. And now you've put the rest of the league on notice that no, this team is not going to go away just because we're down a stupid amount of runs late in the ball game. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep scratching. And a 5-run 9th inning is huge, especially with the way that this team started the year out.
Right. And I think there's so many people you could point to last night, and so many different players you could point to in terms of being a unsung hero. I mean, everybody last night contributed in some facet of the game. Everybody. Laureano at the top of the batting order again. 2 for 5, runs scored, got the RBI late in the game. He's hitting .292 now with a .921 OPS. We said it yesterday, but I'm going to continue to say it. You have found your leadoff hitter in Ramon Laureano. Jackson Merrill comes up clutch twice last night. He got the home run robbery of Julio Rodriguez. I mean, he doesn't catch that ball, they lose probably. It's a game-saving home run. That's a game-saving robbery of a home run by Jackson Merrill. And then he delivers with the 2 RBI knock down the line. He was 2 for 5 yesterday. He's got his average up to 261, 784 OPS. Xander Bogaerts coming up. Down 6-0. Down to Hancock has been pitching. He's been lights out all night. Guy takes advantage of a mistake, deposits in left field, gets another home run for the year. 2 for 4 on the night with a run scored. He's hitting 284 with a 790 OPS. Manny Machado didn't have any hits last night, but you know what he did? Led off that inning with a walk. Ended up coming around to score. Gavin Sheets 2 for 4 yesterday. Ty France was 1 for 4. He's hitting 273. And how about Luis Campusano? Luis Campusano, who everybody wanted off this team in spring training, has nothing left. He's never going to be good. He can't hit. All this nonsense. He has won you 2 games. He has won you 2 games already. Out of the 12 that they have won, you can say that Luis Campusano's won you 2 of them. And oh, by the way, he's hitting 320 with a 946 OPS. Everybody was worried about him in spring training. Like, his spring training numbers aren't very good.
And he didn't start
Who cares
last
about
night.
Spring training? No, he didn't. He had to come in for Fermin, who got a couple of blows to the head, unfortunately. And hopefully he's okay, and we'll see what happens with a potential concussion list, if you will. But Luis Campusano filled in great. He got the knock that you needed. Scored the run, drove in a run, batting .320 right now with a 946 OPS. I mean, everybody contributed last night for the San Diego Padres. Even Jake Cronenworth worked a walk. But despite all of that, you still look at some of the players on this team that are not really, I mean, they asked the question on the roundtable. Ben Higgins did. This team got anything else more? Is this the highest level they can participate at? Of course not. This is a team that's competing like this, and I don't know, Fernando Tatis Jr. didn't even play yesterday, and he's only hitting 242. The 615 OPS. He hasn't even hit his stride yet. Jake Cronenworth's hitting a $140 with 457 OPS. He's not contributing too much right now. Nick Castellanos is hitting 179 with a 494 OPS. He's been a little unlucky, but also he hasn't been contributing that much offensively. Manny Machado still hitting 185. Like, these are all players that are going to be playing better than what they're currently playing right now. I think it's even say the same thing about Freddie for me. This team has not even reached its full potential yet. This is why some people even picked them to win the division, which I thought was kind of crazy. But the Padres are playing really good baseball. They're racking up wins. And this is where you kind of load up on wins to help you for the second half of the season. Keep the good times rolling. I know we got some information on Nick Pivetta we'll get to later on in the show about what his injury actually was. We mentioned it on the roundtable, but we will talk about that in just a little bit. Some of these situations for the Padres in terms of the pitching doesn't look great in terms of what they have to do to try to fill the time before they get players back. But I'll tell you what, as I said yesterday, this is where you rack up as many wins as possible. Keep the good times rolling and don't take this for granted. I mean, I talked about the offense contributing last night from a pitching standpoint. Randy Vásquez came back down to earth a little bit. 4 earned runs, 5 hits, 4 innings. The biggest problem, though, he had 4 walks. Mariners worked a lot of walks yesterday. They worked 7 walks yesterday. Padres worked 2. Can't walk people. It's hard to win the battle when you're giving up a free 90 feet and putting multiple runners on. I mean, the Mariners last night had 16 at-bats with runners in scoring position. They had 16 opportunities with runners in scoring position. They only cashed in 3 times. Padres were 4 for 10. But back to the pitching, Vásquez had what I would consider somewhat of a clunker. Marinaccio gave you some innings. Unfortunately, he gave that 2-run homer. Wandy Peralta helped save the game yesterday. Didn't let the lead get out of hand. Didn't let Seattle add on. He had the 1 walk, but he worked the 1 inning, got the strikeout he needed, got out of the inning. Alec Jacob, again, he helped you win this game. It's important to not let the score continue to climb up when you are in the bullpen. You have pride in doing that. Bob Scanlon said that yesterday on the postgame show on television. Alec Jacob, 2 innings, no earned runs, 1 hit, a walk, and 3 strikeouts, and he kept you in the game. He gave you an opportunity to win it. He kept it within 4. He made it look like when you look at the scoreboard, it didn't seem that out of reach. And right now, there's not really a lot of leads that seem out of reach for the San Diego Padres. What a fun game yesterday. What a fun experience yesterday. If you were there, give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. What do you guys think about the Padres right now? What's the vibe right now, Padres fans? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're just getting started on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're going to break down some of the ins and outs of yesterday's game, what we thought from it, and talk a little bit more about some inner problems maybe with the Padres of some interesting topic discussions. We're talking a lot of Padres baseball today, leading you into Glenn and Chris and the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. Big news over the weekend. The San Diego Gulls are heading to the playoffs, and they're not just sneaking in. They're coming in hot. 7-3 victory over Bakersfield locks it in, and this team is playing their best hockey of the season right now. Nathan Gauthier is on fire with 6 goals in his last 4 games after returning from the NHL. Sasha is leading the way with over 50 points, and Justin Bailey leading the league in game-winning goals. But here's the real story. This team is deep. Young players like Roger McQueen are already making an impact, and the goaltending has stepped up in a very big way. So now the question isn't just can they make the playoffs, it's how far can they go? Because if this momentum carries over, this is not a team anyone wants to see in the first round. San Diego Gulls are officially back in the Calder Cup playoffs. Dominant 7-3 victory over the Bakersfield Condors, combined with the loss by the Tucson Roadrunners, and San Diego punches their ticket for the first time since the 2021-2022 season. And for head coach Matt McIlvain, it's his first playoff appearance with this group. And honestly, this has been building. Big congratulations to the Gulls.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Gulls are playing their best hockey of the season right now. 3 straight wins before a brief setback. They had a huge 5-3 win on the road against San Jose Barracuda to start the week. Then a statement 7-goal explosion after a loss to Bakersfield to clinch the playoffs. Even that loss They were competitive and still producing offensively. So this team has found its identity at the perfect time as well, with guys like Sasha Pastujov and Nathan Gauthier leading the way.
Now let's start with that engine. Sasha Pastujov, team leader with 55 points, 15 points in his last 10 games, consistent, clutch, and driving everything offensively. Nathan Gauthier, back from his NHL stint with the Anaheim Ducks, 6 goals in his last 4 games, playing his best hockey of the season at the right time. Justin Bailey, now at 24 goals, leads the AHL in game-winning goals with 9 and has absolutely owned Bakersfield this season. And Matthew Phillips hits the 50-point mark, quietly one of the most consistent producers on the roster.
Yeah, and looking back in net as well, Callie Klang, a 35-save performance against the San Jose Barracuda at the beginning of the week. Multiple wins in a row, including a shutout here recently. And Damian Clara picking up his first AHL, victory in the playoff clinching game, 36 saves, a huge moment for him. Defensively, this team is stepping up as well. Tristan Luneau continuing to produce offensively. Tyson Hines contributing at both ends of the ice. And team defense tightening up at the right time for this team to make them a serious pain in the neck going into the Calder Cup playoffs.
Yeah, so as of right now, it seems like every position has been clinched in the Calder Cup playoffs. I mean, the Pacific Division gets 7 teams, the Central gets 5, the North get 5, and the Atlantic gets 6. And San Diego gets that number 7 spot at 78 points. Finished a couple of points behind the Bakersfield Condors. There's still a handful of games left this season. San Diego will play Tucson on Wednesday. They'll go to Ontario on Friday, and then play. I think they play Colorado on. They might play Colorado on Saturday, but I'm not
Colorado
sure.
Eagles. Yeah.
So we'll but that's the remaining schedule for the San Diego Gulls moving forward. And then if the playoffs started today, San Diego still has an opportunity to potentially get themselves out of the number 7 spot, because if the season ended today, they would be the 7 playing the Colorado Eagles in the first round of the playoffs, which is a best of 3, a team that is, second ranked in the Pacific Division. Again, you play through your divisions before you get to the different division finals, conference finals, and then the Calder Cup finals. So if the season ended today, Ontario would be the number 1 seed in the Pacific Division. Gulls would get in as the 7, taking on the Colorado Eagles, the 2. You would have the Henderson Silver Knights as the 3, Bakersfield the 6, Coachella Valley would be the 4, and San Jose would be the 5. San Diego actually finishes with Coachella Valley at the end of the season, not Colorado. So still a little bit of time left to potentially move up the leaderboard. Again, 4 points behind the Bakersfield Condors. So San Diego still has an opportunity here, but they're making the playoffs, and that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, for sure. And right now, we've talked so much about this team over the course of these updates, how they've been up and down, inconsistent. They're still developing. They're still trying to find their way. They're trying to they're learning how to finish games. Now we're seeing them scoring, putting up big numbers. Goaltending has been incredible all season, and now they're playing more connected and physical hockey as well, and they're winning games. They're not just winning games, they're winning important games. That game against the Barracuda on, I believe it was either Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, was very, very crucial to them potentially making it into the playoffs and not. And they got a big win up in San Jose. So they are peaking at the right time right now, right as we're about to get into playoffs.
Well, as we mentioned before, so San Diego's got 3 games left. The Gulls have 3 games left in the season. They got Tucson, Ontario, and Coachella Valley. They chase Bakersfield and San Jose. They can get as high as probably the 5. They're 4 points off of the pace, or 4 points behind San Jose and Bakersfield. Bakersfield will play on Tuesday at Henderson, and San Jose will play Coachella Valley. But then 97-3, the Fan. Big win for the Padres last night. They have now won 7 straight games, and they have now won 6 straight games against teams that had just swept the Astros. I don't know why people that can't figure that one out. You've confused a lot of people on social media today.
I don't know how, because I did the same exact tweet yesterday. I just put it was 5 and not 6.
Right. 6 straight wins over teams to sweep the Astros.
Yeah, so
And the guy said wrong 3 times in one sentence.
the Rockies, before coming here, played the Astros.
And they swept them.
And swept the Astros. The Mariners, before coming here, played the Astros.
And swept the Astros.
And swept the Astros.
So now
That's 6-game winning streak.
you
against
have won 6 straight games against teams that have swept the Astros. That's what that says. People want to be so rude and mean and stick you in your place, Frank, so bad that they will refuse to actually read and comprehend what you put on a tweet just to say, ha, got you.
For a second straight day.
For a second straight day. It's amazing. It's amazing how evil people could be. It really is. It's just like you took time out of your day to try to stick it to Frank. Think about that for a second. Why would you go do something else, man?
Poor widow old me.
Got to stick it to Frank. Got to make that guy feel bad. I got to make you feel bad to make me feel like I'm smart. That's what you're doing when you send a tweet like that. That's a different level of gross. Read the tweet. It says that's the 6th straight win against teams that have now previously swept the Astros. It's not that hard to figure out. Embarrassing. Foul.
He draws the foul.
Embarrassing. Frank does care this much because Frank was complaining about it during the break. I'm just going to say, it's embarrassing. Like they say in Letterkenny. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
They say something else too, but we're going to move on from that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Lou and Lucadia. Let's talk about the Pods. Lou, what's going on, man?
Oh, what a crazy day yesterday. Ran down to Petco to get my puffer and then beat it back home to watch the game, and this was amazing. This 7-game winning streak reminds me of 98. We were really mediocre and then turned on an 11-game winning streak, and then the rest is history. So I just got just great feeling. Now, one thing, watching the post game on TV, they were interviewing Jackson Merrill, and it sounded like he dropped an F-bomb. So is that something that the players get fined for?
I don't know. I guess that would be like a policy for the Padres. I mean, what time was that? Oh, but it's on cable too. So like, there's only so much the FCC cares about. The only thing with like curse words in the FCC, it's like people have to complain about it for them to actually act on it. So as long as you guys didn't complain about it, they should be okay. I don't think Padres TV is gonna get fined or anything like that. They're also in a delay, so they didn't. Or maybe they're not. I guess they're not in a delay. I tweeted out, hey, Jorge Alfaro reference. I'm sure the Padres aren't super thrilled about him doing that, but I don't know. I don't really care. Not my deal. But he did. He did definitely. He definitely said what everybody thought he said. There wasn't like a question about it either. I mean, you all heard it. Anyway, let's get out to Dexter in Spring Valley. Dexter on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hey, 2 quick things. The first one is during the roundtable, you guys were asked what your dream car was, and you're driving your dream car. I think that's cool.
Thank you. I think it's cool
I'm
too.
actually surprised that nobody said either James Bond's Aston Martin DB7 or DB5 or DB7, or because of all the cool gadgets, or the car of all cars, Speed Racer's Mach 5. It's a car. It's an airplane. It's a submarine. It's a race car. So there you go. But I think Frank brought up a great point, and I'm going to defend Frank on that. It's really interesting that the teams that we're beating beat the Astros as badly as they did before coming to San Diego. So it makes me wonder, hey, does that mean that we should have the Astros come to San Diego so we can beat them too.
Well, I did ask the other day, Dexter, I appreciate the phone call. I did ask Frank that when do we play the Astro? When are they coming up?
Very soon, actually. If you want to call the 8th, 9th, and 10th of August soon.
Oh, it's just right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's just next week. Yeah, it's a couple weeks. Just a couple weeks.
Yeah, not that far away.
What's your dream car? Did you answer that question?
Mine, realistically, I always wanted a 2002 Chevy Monte Carlo.
Okay.
That's what I always wanted. Completely unrealistically would be a Ferrari Enzo.
There you go. It's a dream car. It didn't have to be realistic or not.
Oh no, I know. I'm just
hey,
saying.
if anybody's got one of those laying around, you want to donate to Frank.
Yeah, no, those are actually quite accessible. They only made like 200 of them, and they made a special one for the Pope. So, you know, just not all that exclusive of a club you need to be in to have one of those things.
It's not too late to convert to Catholicism and then and then try to be a priest and then work your way up through to be a cardinal and all that stuff.
Never
and then become
too
the
late.
Pope. Yeah, you could be the Pope. Who knows?
Taylor the Wienermobile. Yep, that's it.
Anyway, let's get out to Craig and Bonita. Craig, what's going on?
Good. How's it going?
Going well. What do you got for us today?
I went to the game last night and stood in line for an hour to get my puffy jacket or puffer jacket. But it was well worth it. Like Ben Higgins, I stayed through 7 and drove home, listened to the game, and drove up right when we won the game. So it was a fantastic crowd and a really nice giveaway last night, but there were a lot of people there wanting it. So we had to be very patient.
Well, I appreciate that, Craig. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, I think we saw the social media stuff about last night. Padres sent out an apology to a lot of the season ticket holders. Obviously, a lot of things that they can't control. Something they might learn from last night. But overall, what a crazy game for the San Diego Padres. So many different things you could take away out of last night's game. We are going to talk about some of those things here coming up with, what do you do at catcher now? How long is Freddie Fermin out? But even if Freddie Fermin is healthy, does Luis Camposano get more playing time? I mean, I think that's an interesting question. Some of these other players that, might be struggling to start the year, are they on the horizon of getting a little bit better to help this club out? There's some interlining conversations of last night's game, the game within the game, that we're going to talk about when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Settings Urban Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The NBA playoffs are here, and this year it's wide open. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the favorites, but that also means it's championship or bust. In the East, the Detroit Pistons are the number 1 seed, but all eyes are on Cade Cunningham's health. If he's not 100%, they could be out early. The Celtics look dangerous. The Knicks are under pressure, and the Hawks might be the sleeper team nobody wants to face. Out west, well, it's chaos. Lakers are dealing with major injuries to Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves, so now it's all on LeBron. Spurs are rising fast behind Victor Wembanyama, and the Nuggets still have Nikola Jokic, who can take over any series. And don't forget the play-in: Warriors, Clippers, Heat fighting just to survive. So here's the question: is this the Thunder's league now? Or is the NBA more unpredictable than ever? The NBA postseason is officially here, and this year it feels wide open. We've got 20 teams still alive in the play-in tipping off this week, and a finals race that might come down to health, depth, and who gets hot at the right team. Let's start in the East, Frank.
Yeah, the surprise of the season, the Detroit Pistons, number 1 overall seed with 60 wins out of 82 opportunities. This team is built on defense and toughness, led by Cade Cunningham, who's finally playing like a franchise superstar. But here's the catch. He's coming off a serious injury. And in the playoffs, if your best player isn't right, nothing else really matters. Right behind them, the Boston Celtics look like the most complete team in the East. Jason Tatum is back. Jaylen Brown is playing at an elite level, but their front court depth is a real question. Then there's pressure, real pressure on the Knicks, not by the Knicks, on the Knicks. They didn't build a roster to, quote unquote, compete. They built it to win. If Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns do not deliver, there could be major changes. And keep an eye on the Atlanta Hawks, who the Knicks are going to have to face in the first round. One of the hottest teams in basketball. They flipped their entire identity midseason, and now they're a legitimate upset threat.
Now to the Western Conference, and this is where things get real. The defending champion, the Oklahoma City Thunder, are the clear favorites. Best net rating in the league, best defense, and led by MVP level Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And for them, it's simple: championship or bust. Right behind them, the San Antonio Spurs, powered by Victor Wembanyama. When they've been dominant, and they have been dominant, but this is their real first playoff test. Can their fast-paced style survive when the game slows down? And then there's chaos in the middle. The Los Angeles Lakers are in serious trouble. Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves are hurt, which means everything falls on LeBron. And that's not necessarily a recipe for success in 2026. At this stage in his career, asking LeBron to carry a team through a playoff series, that's kind of a massive gamble for the Lake Show. Meanwhile, the Houston Rockets, led by Kevin Durant, are dangerous, but closing games has been a real issue. And don't overlook the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic, best offensive team in basketball, but with serious defensive concerns. And then there's the play-in games that start Tuesday, arguably the most unpredictable part of the entire postseason. Teams like the Golden State Warriors, LA Clippers, and Miami Heat out east are fighting just to get in. One game, one shot, win or go home. It's going to be interesting to see who ends up winning in the play-in games to really solidify this NBA playoff bracket.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. And it's been a lot of fun to watch this season. I believe we mentioned it on a couple of updates ago that this isn't really it's going to be Golden State and Miami. It's going to be Golden State versus LeBron. It's not like that anymore. This is a real legitimate competitive league now you're really tossed on who can win. And that's always great when you can have every single team in the playoff, when you can give them a legitimate way that they can win. It makes your product a lot more entertaining, a lot more watchable. And of course, as we've known now for the last couple of years, this is the time when the NBA players actually really try to win these games.
Yeah.
So it's going to make it even more crazy and unpredictable.
Yeah, the level of play shoots through the roof. I mean, this is the time where I start tuning into NBA games on a daily basis. But here's the big conversation for a lot of the casual fans, right? It's, people like dynasties. General public likes dynasties. They like to see dynasties play. They like to see teams maybe win a couple of championships, and then they like to see the destruction of dynasties. So are the Oklahoma City Thunder actually a dynasty in the making, or is the West too loaded for them to dominate? Because on paper, they are the best team, but the playoffs aren't about paper. And you've got experience in Denver. You got some star power in LA. You got the rising stars in San Antonio. I still think OKC is the best team, but I don't think they're they're not unbeatable. And in today's NBA, that's all it takes. One bad series, one injury, one hot opponent, everything changes. I think this might be, and we've talked about this on the last couple of NBA updates, this has to be one of the most wide open fields you'll see in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Oklahoma City, I think it would need to be, if they don't win the NBA Finals this year, I think you need to at least lose in at least game 6 and then come out like a wrecking ball next year in order to be considered a dynasty, or at least the makings of a dynasty. Of course, that's cemented if they win, that this really is the next dynasty that's going to rule the NBA. But if they don't win, they're going to have to do a lot. It's going to have to go deep into the finals, and they're really going to have to impress coming out of the box next year.
And it all starts this week with the play-in game starting on Tuesday. All guests on the Braden Surprenant Show. Join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. And coming up later on at 11:15 in a couple of segments, big news for San Diego. Big news for San Diego that's getting announced in the next hour in the sports world. And we are going to have a special guest at 11:15 to talk about said news. And very great news. in terms of an event coming to San Diego. Should be a fun time. Stay tuned at 11:15 for that. We're talking about last night's Padres game as we try to take a deeper dive into the ins and outs of last night's game. And Frank, as I look at last night's game, it started off very bleak. I mean, it was a really bad. I mean, it went from really bad game to really incredible game in a span of a couple of innings, based on, unfortunately, the start that Randy Vásquez had yesterday. A little bit of a comeback down to earth start for Randy Vásquez, and the biggest takeaway I had from his start yesterday: a lot more walks than we've seen all year.
Yeah, this was a vintage 2025, 2024 Randy Vásquez start, which isn't good. 4 innings, 4 runs, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts. He did strike out 6, but walked 4. 85 pitches, 45 strikes. That is a big problem. He was clearly off last night, and it was very much his worst start of the season. And you're gonna have those over the course of a 162 game season. You're gonna have those over the course of 35 games, hopefully, as a starting pitcher. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, he wasn't exceptionally good last night. I mean, it was kind of I think they ended up giving him a D+ on the pitcher list stats that we have been using on the pitcher list PLV on social media. And again, like, you knew it was going to be, I mean, he was going to have a bad start mixed in there every once in a while, right? I mean, you knew that was going to be the case.
Does.
But, unfortunately for the Padres, it dug him into a hole. And, they had to try to climb their way back out of that hole. And they were going against a pitcher in Emerson Hancock that was electric. I mean, he was outstanding. He is another homegrown guy out of the Mariners organization. I mean, they spent a lot of their money in developing pitchers, and they've had that. And the biggest problem for the Mariners over the years has been hitting and getting consistent hitters into their lineup. They've never had a problem with pitching, and that pitching last night was tough. And it was tough for the Padres to scratch across any type of runs. They were down 2-0, they were down 4-0, and then they were down 6-0 before Xander Bogaerts finally came through with a hit. But that being said, Padres found gritty ways to win last night, and they're winning in a lot of different facets on offense.
Yeah, you've had 2 walk-off home runs over the course of the last week, and now you've had this walk-off hit. I saw the stat last night, and I sent it to you yesterday. Let me get it back here. Hold on 1 second. The Padres 3 Padres first win. Oh, well, that's also this one. First win by trailing by 4+ runs entering the 9th inning since June 14th of 2019. Which was 1 in extras, and the first win for them when trailing by 4 runs entering the 9th, and won it since 2017. That was from Sarah Langs last night. But there was another one that MLB put out. That this the first time since, I think it was the 75 Reds, that a team has won by 3 walk-offs in a week span. So it's been a very, very impressive run, especially late for this team.
Padres have been outstanding on offense, right? Let's talk more about Randy Vásquez for a second, because now, like, when Randy Vásquez was putting together the first couple of starts that he has had this year, and he was doing that with, as a number 3 starter, because he came in to be a number 4 starter for the Padres. When he was doing those, it's great. But now he kind of needs to keep up the pace a little bit with Nick Pivetta being on the injured list. And we're going to talk about Nick Pivetta in the next hour. We're going to talk about some of the news that we got from the Padres yesterday in the pregame in the next hour. But, you need Randy Vásquez to put together some, I mean, if he gave up he can't be giving up 4 runs per outing, but if he gave up these 4 runs over his first couple of starts, or, mix it in with the first couple of starts, his ERA be in the same spot, you could live with his overall season numbers on a daily basis or on every 5th day. He went 4 innings last night, 4 runs allowed, 5 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Vásquez had 10 whiffs, 29% on his called strike and whiff rate on his 85 pitches thrown. Very not pretty on the surface, but the underlying stuff tells a more nuanced story. Like, his stuff was still pretty solid. He had a B- on his stuff breakdown. Solid, not dominant. Location was very off. He had a C- on his command. It was very shaky, and that's where a lot of the damage came from last night. According to PLV, that we pulled this graph from almost after every starting pitcher start, pitching plus or similar metric that you see, he got a B- in terms of his grade, and the results, he got a D+. The outcome grade reflects the runs allowed, obviously. Giving up 4 runs as a starter is not great. He relied heavily on his cutter as his primary fastball last night. 24 thrown at 90.5 miles an hour on average, which is an uptick on MPH from so far this season in terms of his overall norms, and had good extension coming off the mound with the slight glove side cut, which was nice. Pitch mix wise for Randy Vásquez, he mixed in 6 pitches last night. Clear platoon splits versus lefties and righties. 67% of the batters he faced last night were left-handers. Mariners threw out a lot of lefties in the starting lineup yesterday. Cutter and sinker was his workhorse against lefties. Changeup usage jumped significantly against left-handers than we've seen him throw throughout the year. And solid whiff generation on his cutter, which was good to see. He faced 18 batters that were right-handed last night. Four-seam fastball usage dropped against the righties, while cutter stayed prominent throughout the outing. Sinker usage also down slightly. Changeup looked like a weapon against against lefties, but with strong vertical movement. Curveball and slider were used sparingly, but contributed to the 6 strikeouts for Randy Vásquez. If you look at the movement profile, very diverse arsenal again. Fastballs, breaking balls, and changeups all are the main categories. Cluster was decent ride and cut on his fastball pitches. His breaking ball pitches showed good horizontal movement, and his changeup had solid fade and drop. Location plots revealed the big issue, though. Versus lefties, pitches were scattered around the zone. He got a C grade, leading to much hard contact and a lot of walks. And against righties, it was even tougher. He had a D- in his location against right-handed hitters, with several pitches leaking over the heart of the plate, which was the main problem of Randy Vásquez last night. His go-to pitch last night was the cutter. Strong called strike whiff percentage at 38%, high PLV plus, and which is like the grade that they use to grade pitchers. All you need to know is that was good last night. Sinker had a good ground ball tilt, but lower whiff rate last night. His four-seam fastball still touching plus velocity at 95.1. Changeup was his best whiff rate percentage relative to usage in the game. And curveball came in at low velocity but high movement. He had a big drop on his curveball. So overall, like, Randy Vásquez wasn't his sharpest outing. 4 earned runs came from poor command and some hard contact, especially a 2-run double off of the four-seamer to Canzone and other hits. He did issue the 4 walks, which inflated his pitch count and shortened his outing, which also made things worse. Velocity holding or slightly up across the board in 2026 for Randy Vásquez. He still generated 10 whiffs and was respectable with his 29% called strike whiff rate in a short outing. Stuff is very playable. Pitch mix is deep in his 6 offerings. Cutter changeup combo shows real potential as a separator. But, you know, he entered this game with a 1.02 ERA, strong strikeout numbers early in 2026. 1 mediocre start last night, likely his roughest of the young season. Doesn't erase the progress he's shown with added velocity and more effective arsenal. If you look at this overall outing out of Randy Vásquez, Frank, and after looking at the numbers, his stuff was still there. Location was off. You're going to have nights like that. You just can't have multiple nights like that in a row.
Yeah, and again, I think he's shown enough this year to show that this is not going to be a continuing trend for him. He's had enough quality starts, I think, out of the first 4 games that he's pitched, to show that I think he's gotten over this, and it was just one bad night. I wouldn't be too much more concerned about this, about future starts going forward.
Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about it either. I think overall, like, the stuff was still there. Was it like the best stuff he's ever had? No, it was okay. He still had a solid outing in terms of like his overall analytic numbers, but you got to be able to locate a lot better. And the Padres, Randy Vásquez was unable to do that last night, which puts you in a little bit of a hole. And you're going against a guy in Hancock that was, he's good. He's a really good pitcher. He's had great numbers in his young career. He's had great numbers this season for the Mariners. So the fact you're able to get a win last night and pull that one out, I mean, as much as we always look back at losses, we're like, oh, you're going to look back at this loss, it's going to hurt. This is one of those games that you picked up, you stole a win last night. I mean, you stole a win last night from a team that hit the ball well, which is something the Mariners had not done all season long. They put up 6 runs. They hit the ball well. They got great starting pitching. And honestly, they had good bullpen. They had a good bullpen last night, with the exception of their closer, and Andres Munoz, who everybody in the planet wanted to is still upset that the Padres traded away Andres Munoz. Got a clunker last night. Don't put a closer in an unsafe situation, apparently. The wildest thing, though, my buddy said this last night. I tweeted it out. The wildest thing about the Padres right now, 9-1 in their last 10 on April 15th. By the way, yeah, that's already ridiculous because it's early in the season, right, Frank? 9-1. Listen to this for a second. 9-1 in the last 10 on April 15th, and being 2 back of first place is incredible. It really is. That's almost impossible to do. Padres have the second best record in baseball, the second best record in the National League, and the second best record in their division. That is unfortunate. Is that not unfortunate? Unfortunate. At this point, this is why I don't really care what the Dodgers are doing too much, because you have to find a way to make the playoffs and lead the way on the wild card. And right now, the Padres are doing that. They're off to they've given themselves a good cushion, especially against teams that they're competing with in the National League East. National League East has not done well. The Braves have done well. Everybody else is under 500 right now. The Marlins are in second place. You look at the Central. Central's playing a lot better. I would imagine the Cardinals are going to start coming back down to earth a little bit at 10-8 because of their lack of resources. Plus, they're also, if you want to play a differential game with the Cardinals, Frank, Ben Higgins differential game. You know what the run differential is at 10-8?
I'm not looking. -6.
More.
15.
Slightly more.
18.
17.
Okay.
-17 on the run differential. That tells you that those teams are probably going to come back down to earth a little bit. Do you know what the Brewers and the Cubs are in last place?
Mm-hmm.
Both, by the way, with a 500 record or better. You don't know what their run differential is?
I'm looking at it now. 15 and 19.
Yeah,
Brewers
plus
and
15,
Cubs.
plus 19. So you would make the argument with the game of the run differential. They're going to play a little bit better baseball. Going to start working their way towards the top a little bit. Pirates plus 20. That's pretty impressive.
Good for them.
Pretty impressive. Anyway, you had somebody else comment on your it's 7 straight wins against teams that have beaten the teams that have swept the Astros. Did the Pirates sweep the Astros this year?
No. As a matter of fact, they actually did come off of a sweep. They came off a sweep against Baltimore before we played them.
But they haven't played the Astros yet?
No, they have not.
They have not played the Astros yet. So you're saying that the Pirates have not? They did not sweep the Astros?
No.
Okay, so that means they're the only teams that have swept the Astros that the Padres have beaten in a row now would just be the Rockies and the Mariners?
Yeah.
And that would be how many games against the Rockies?
4.
And then how many against the Mariners?
2.
And that equals 7, right?
Yes.
To a lot of people,
I hate this new age math, dude.
It equals 6.
I texted you that Alex Miniak, tiny mistake. The first time Ty France came up to bat this season, number 4, Ty France, when clearly 25 was on his back. I texted you that and I said 24, number 4. I hate this new age math.
I got to dish out 2 fouls to Brandon Stone, by the way.
Uh-oh.
You saw those. Dad, come on. Before we run out of time. I said I'd do it the first hour. I forgot.
He draws the foul.
Brandon Stone's dad jokes on Twitter last night. Cause of 2 fouls. 2 personal, 2 team fouls. Interesting news from Dennis Lynn when we come back. Just came down.
Tony Gwynn Jr.
Hour 1 is over. Hour 2 about to begin here on the Braden Surprenant Show. Standing Summer Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. We got some news from Dennis Lin in that last hour that we're now going to discuss here to start this hour. Before we get to information about Nick Pivetta that you might have caught yesterday. If you missed it, we'll get to that in just a little bit. We will also have Shannon MacMillan on the show next, National Soccer Hall of Famer, to talk about something big that's happening in San Diego coming up very shortly. We're going to get to her next on the show, but this is the big information that just came down from Dennis Lin. Dennis Lin wrote an article in The Athletic. Headline, Padres sale process nearing end. Agreement expected as soon as next week. So maybe as soon as next week, you will know who potentially will be the new owner of the San Diego Padres. Padres sale is nearing the finish line with a preferred ownership group expected to be selected as soon as early next week. Final price is projected around $3.5 billion, which would obliterate the MLB record set by Steve Cohen, who bought the Mets for $2.42 billion. Now, this isn't just a franchise sale, but it's a massive signal about where baseball's money, power, and labor fight are heading next, obviously. You have 4 finalists remaining for this team. You have Jose Feliciano, who is the Chelsea co-owner. You have Dan Friedkin, who owns Everton and AS Roma. You have Tom Gores, who owns the Detroit Pistons. And you have Joe Lacob, who owns the Golden State Warriors. This record sale is a massive statement about, obviously, baseball economics. $3.5 billion valuation, that's an explosive growth for this Padres franchise that was valued at $3.1 billion just last year. That's a 60% jump, occurring right before, by the way, CBA, and the CBA expires on December 1st, which obviously will be used as ammo in labor negotiations. Owners want a salary cap. Players argue, look, you're richer than ever. Look how much money you're spending on teams. And you're going to get a labor war. I don't want to make this about the labor war, but new CBA showdown is looming. Owners are pushing for the salary cap, more cost control. Players have been countering with franchises. Values are skyrocketing. Revenues about to jump. There's expected to be new TV deals post-2028. And the Padres right now are in a unique position. They're uniquely positioned. Currently, the Padres are near the bottom in local media revenue. But as reported by Dennis Lin, in the near future could gain hundreds of millions annually from national TV restructuring, which is exactly what Major League Baseball wants to do on top of the salary cap. So a new owner is not just buying a team that might be a little undervalued today. In fact, he is doing that. He's buying a team that's a little undervalued in revenue today, but he is positioned to explode financially tomorrow with the influx of the TV contract, with potentially being able to compete a little bit more fair with the salary cap. I mean, a lot of things in this new CBA, all positioned to really help teams like the San Diego Padres. Now, some insiders say don't treat the Padres as the market because California scarcity. There's only a couple of teams here in California. The Dodgers aren't coming up for sale soon. The Giants aren't coming up for sale soon. Maybe you could get in a bid for the Angels if Artie Moreno decides to sell, but he tried to sell and already pulled the team back last year after not finding what he was looking for. San Diego's wealthy region, rare availability here in SoCal. Also the fact that it's the only show in town. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the Padres are valuable, which makes it really not surprising that the Padres might sell for $3.5 billion. And why experts are saying and insiders are saying, don't expect the next team to go over this allotment on the worth. I mean, San Diego now, according to Forbes, if you look at San Diego's sports teams that they have, specifically the professional ones like San Diego FC and the San Diego Padres, they're both ranked respectively in the top 10 and most valued franchises in their particular sport. Padres are ranked top 10 valued in Major League Baseball. San Diego FC, top 10 in value in the MLS. A lot of that has to do with this area, this market, San Diego. Now, here are the ownership profiles. Obviously, we've talked about some of them already. Each finalist does bring a different philosophy. If you look at Feliciano and Friedkin, who are separate bids, they're global, brand focused, potentially, maybe less emotional spending as soccer tie people, but Friedkin's got the local San Diego connection. He's from here. Gores of the Pistons. He's got a mixed track record, not known necessarily for aggressive payroll pushes for the Pistons, but I tell you what, he buys out of problems a lot. He's done that. He's paid for buyouts. He's paid for players to go away. He's paid for coaches to go away. He's paid for a lot of things to make them a better squad. And by the way, they got a pretty high seed in the NBA playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Did they not get the number 1 seed in the NBA playoffs? They were for a while.
Number two overall behind Oklahoma City. But yeah,
they got number 1 in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
That guy, they got to be doing something right to be the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, right? I would imagine so. And then you got the Joe Lacob situation. Now he's, very high. He's hyper aggressive. He's made a lot of moves. You've seen the Warriors make a lot of moves to go get championships. They've won a lot of championships. He is a championship driven spender. That's another one. So this decision obviously can make the determination of whether or not the Padres stay aggressive or pull back when it comes to financial commitment towards their team. But I have a feeling, Frank, if they're going to spend $3.5 billion, whatever the bid is, they're going to invest into that asset pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do it early. Now, this sale might be closed. They might know who they're selling to relatively soon, but the sale may not be completed for a while. So you're going to have this new ownership group potentially having guys moving in and out as far as players go before they actually take over fully, and they'll just say, yeah, just put it on our tab. We'll cover it. Don't worry. To the Seidler family. So I would expect, especially now, they're going to want to get in the good graces of the fan base. I would expect them to do something big, if not at the trade deadline, definitely during this offseason before the CBA comes out, before the CBA expires, if any players are willing to sign something before the new CBA comes out, and go from there. This is not going to be a tear down buyout kind of deal. This is going to be, we're here, we're in it to win it. We got an extraordinary opportunity and we're going to take it.
A lot of these factors are definitely playing into the Padres' favor too. We talk about it from a standpoint of, and this is why this franchise is so valuable right now too, because right now the Padres are paying for these contracts, Frank, and their TV deal is terrible in terms of like what it could potentially be. And it's just it's not the Padres' fault. Like there's only so many ways you could go about it. They're not in a television market of selling advertising on TV that is the same as some of the big league clubs. So again, their TV contract's not great in terms of like generating tons of money because there's nothing more they could do. They're in a corner of the United States that is surrounded by a desert, a major city, an international border, and a Pacific Ocean. Like there's only so much you could do. But with a more of an NFL style revenue share on television contracts looming, that makes this franchise a little bit more valuable on top of the fact that they're already selling out. So they're generating all of the revenue from showing up, buying merchandise, all that stuff. Fan base is going full go. And now you add hundreds of millions of dollars to your TV contract that you don't currently have hundreds of millions of dollars. That helps out as well. Oh, and by the way, with the potential salary cap floor system, the team north of you right now that is the only team that's got a better record than you in baseball right now, all of a sudden their dominance starts to get limited, which could also reshape the Padres strategy moving forward and make this team even more valuable than it already is. Based on the CBA, based on how much this franchise is going to go for, based on a lot of factors, things are trending in the right direction for the future of the San Diego Padres to be a very valuable asset, to not only to own, but to be a very competitive and a very good team in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, for sure. And again, we keep coming back to the fact that this is such an extraordinary opportunity built on such an extraordinary circumstance, that this is not a team that comes up for sale ever. So if you're spending this much money, you're not going to do what the Rockies, Angels, Pirates are doing. If you're going to put this much money into an asset, you're going to go for it. So that's going to be the case for any of these new owners that come in potentially, as early as next week, possibly.
And you're going to find out a little bit more. I mean, I think, and I've said this multiple times, I think there is a different storyline or pro to each one of these groups. And we've talked about it ad nauseum. I mean, you have the, Feliciano group that are bid, where he's co-owner of Chelsea with people that own the Dodgers, right? Like that's an interesting storyline of maybe a little headbutting. You have Friedkin, who has San Diego. He's the only one that is from San Diego that put a bid on the Padres, right? Maybe return home. Maybe he's got that extra connection. Joe Lacob, who won multiple championships with the Warriors. That's a guy that might not be as wealthy in terms of overall net worth, but a guy that wants to win championships. He has proven it in Golden State. And then you have the Gore situation with the Pistons owner, who also owns 27% of the Chargers. And that has its own interlining question marks in itself. But we'll talk more about the Padres in just a little bit. We want to get you updates on what the Nick Pivetta situation is and how the Padres navigate that. We will do that at the bottom of the hour. But coming up next, soccer sensation, legendary soccer player from San Diego, Shannon MacMillan, joins the Braden Surprenant Show to announce some pretty important news in San Diego when we return. Just when it looked like San Diego baseball turned the corner, reality hit again. After sweeping Santa Clara, the Toreros came into this week with momentum, but they couldn't really sustain it. They got blown out by Irvine. They bounced back with a big win over San Francisco on Friday, and then they dropped the series with two tough losses over the weekend. At this point, the issue is clear, and it's like a lot of the schools here in town. It's inconsistency. This team can score runs, and they can pitch, and they're starting games fast, but they're not putting together complete weekends. And in conference play, that's the difference between contending and sitting right in the middle. So now the big question is, can they find consistency before it's too late, or is this just who they are in 2026? After sweeping Santa Clara last week, it looked like San Diego baseball had finally turned the corner. This week, a reminder that they're not quite there yet. The Toreros opened with the midweek test against UC Irvine, got hit hard in a 13-5 loss. USD scored first again, something they've done consistently. Andrew Gana stayed hot, continuing his player of the week form, but a 9-run fourth inning fueled by walks completely flipped the game. And Frank, how many times we have to talk about it in baseball? You can't stop a walk. That's going to lead to big innings. 9 runs, hard to overcome on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, certainly, especially on a Tuesday night where we see the strange things always seem to happen midweek in college baseball. So, yeah, walks are always killed you. Nice to see Andrew Gana staying hot, though, continuing his player of the week form. But that was not great out of against UC Irvine.
And that's been the recurring issue. It's been self-inflicted damage for USD. Then they came the big conference series against San Francisco. Has been sitting at first place in the WCC. And they got a statement win on Friday. They went 9-2. And 5 players had multi-hit games. 4 Toreros had 3 hits each. Pitching combo of DeShriver and Fries locked things down. That's the version of USD we saw during the Santa Clara sweep. That's the version of USD we expected at the beginning part of the season. But again, it was in the weekend where things started to slip away.
Yeah, Saturday, a back-and-forth game, tied late, and then San Diego gives up runs in the 8th and loses 7-5. And then on Sunday, score first again. Offense left the building at that point, a 6-1 loss. So instead of building momentum, San Diego now settles for a series loss and sits at 13-20 overall, 6-6 in the West Coast Conference. And that first place team momentum that they had after the Santa Clara series, not so much anymore.
I mean, the team has improved. You've seen them improve over the last, week or so, but they're still not consistent enough to really take control of the WCC. So now they're in the middle and they're fighting to get themselves in the WCC tournament right now. I mean, at the beginning of the season, you were thinking, how can this team advance in the NCAA tournament? Could it be one of the first teams in San Diego, not just USD, but San Diego State and UCSD to advance to a super regional? They got picked to win the conference outright at the beginning of the year. And now they're trying to fight their way just to make it to Scottsdale for the West Coast Conference tournament. So they've now shown that they can explode offensively. They've shown that they can get dominant pitching performances. They've shown they can start games fast, but they're still struggling to sustain that level across the entire weekend. And they still are struggling to lock games down in the late innings. I mean, they are giving up too many big rallies in late innings to try to win baseball games.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see. And unfortunately, softball kind of ran into the same issue as they faced Santa Clara over the weekend, and it did not go well for them at all.
No, game one, a 9-1 loss where they got run ruled. They jumped out to a 5-0 lead at game two. They lost 8-5, giving up 8 unanswered runs. And then at game three, they scored early again, but lost 5-3. So across all 3 games, the pattern is clear. Fast starts, but no finish out of the Toreros on both the baseball and softball side. Now, USD softball drops to 16-23 overall. They're 3-6 in West Coast Conference play. As of right now, the question is inconsistency now the new identity as Toreros baseball team? They're playing like it. And the thing that's hard to say, we've seen both extremes. We've seen them sweep a conference opponent. We've then seen them lose a series the very next weekend. We've seen them dominate one game and then disappear the next. At some point, it stops being ups and downs and it starts becoming who you are.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it does look that way. And it's the difference between a top contender and a middle-of-the-pack team. And it's consistency. Right now, USD is stuck in between. The talent says they should be near the top. The results say they're still trying to figure it out. And unfortunately, the clock is ticking as we get down towards the end of the season, as they're going to be playing Cal State Fullerton here soon.
It's going to be a tough finish. We'll see what San Diego's got in store. They got to try to battle their way through to try to make the WCC tournament. Still got a lot of opportunity left, but they're running out of series to do it. $11:18 on a Thursday. Padres will start at 5:40 today, a little bit earlier than usual. It's a somewhat getaway day for the Seattle Mariners today, as well as the San Diego Padres. But Padres, after tonight, will be going up to Anaheim to take on the Angels. That's obviously not a long commute for the San Diego Padres. So a little bit of you get a night game. You get a night game as the final game of this series here in San Diego. Padres will play the Mariners again up in Seattle. But as we take a little bit of a break from Padres news, we do have some other news for you, as we have some international soccer coming to Snapdragon Stadium in the month of June. It was announced earlier this morning, but joining us now, local soccer product that went on to play at Portland. She ended up being on the San Diego Spirit. She played for Team USA for a long period of time. She has been involved with soccer in San Diego. So no other better person to tell us about this big international soccer event than the great Shannon MacMillan, who joins us on the Braden Surprenant Show. She joins us on the SDCSU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking, it's better. Shannon, exciting times today, exciting news. Thanks again for joining us. And what can you tell us about the announcement this morning?
Yes, thank you for having me. And very exciting news. I think it just further supports that San Diego is a soccer city, but we've got a great weekend of international matches coming up. It'll be send-off matches before these teams roll into the World Cup. So on June 6th, we've got Switzerland versus Australia. And then on Sunday, we've got Colombia versus Jordan. So great opportunity to get a taste of the World Cup before the games actually kick off.
Shannon, as somebody from San Diego, grown up in Escondido, started for the U.S. women's national team, has done a lot of things for soccer, not only in our country, but also here in America's finest city. What does it mean to you personally to see Snapdragon Stadium hosting these high-level international friendlies right in our backyard as the final tune-up before the 2026 World Cup?
It's something that's very hard to put into words. I was blessed with 12 years with the U.S. national team. And, I think every athlete grows up dreaming of being in the Olympics, but every soccer player grows up playing in a World Cup, something that I didn't get to witness as a young girl in Escondido. So the fact that we are now, hosting these matches, I'm excited to work alongside Sports San Diego, SDFC, and Snapdragon to host this. Again, I think you've seen so many players from this area grow up and go on to have great national team careers. And the fact that now all these young boys and girls can get a taste of World Cup fever before it even kicks off is beyond a wildest dream.
Now, obviously, we don't have World Cup matches, but you've played in a lot of international tournaments for Team USA, and you get most of these countries have base camps, and I know Switzerland's going to have San Diego as a base camp. Just for people that want to go watch these events, I mean, these are important games for these countries going into the World Cup. But just how important was it for you as a player to play in some of these international friendlies right before World Cup play? And what's the talent level you're going to see? Because I think when people see friendlies, go like, they're just going to go out there to have a good time. But they're getting locked in for the World Cup. You're going to see some of the best in the world play here in San Diego.
Yeah, you're absolutely going to see the best of the best out there for these countries representing. They'll be open substitution, so you'll get to see a lot of players. But to your point, Switzerland, they chose San Diego as their home base for a few weeks leading up to the World Cup. So the fact that we're going to be able to show them what San Diego is all about, hosting at Snapdragon, packing the stands, and the World Cup every 4 years gets just the average soccer fan out there and interested, but you're going to get a taste of what these teams and their supporters bring to the match, because these soccer teams, football teams as they call them, they are the pinnacle teams for their countries, and the World Cup just brings out the excitement, the passion that these players all have. And so a great opportunity for San Diego to step up and show these countries what we're all about. And see, this is their last match before the actual World Cup. So these teams will be locked in and ready to go.
We're talking with former Team USA player, World Cup champion, Shannon MacMillan on the Braden Surprenant Show, talking about an exciting weekend coming up in June where we will have some international friendlies here as they gear up for the World Cup, which will be hosted in North America this year. Just for you in perspective of what was playing in the World Cup like for a lot of people that, will never be able to experience that? Obviously, being able to win it was probably amazing, but what was your biggest takeaway from playing in the World Cup yourself?
I think for us, because, in 1999, when we hosted the World Cup, we went into that hoping to launch the first ever women's professional league in the States off of the success of that. So we rolled into that tournament willing and able and ready to do anything necessary to promote what we were doing. Once the tournament kicked off, it kind of became, hey guys, you realize if you don't win, you're probably not going to have that much luck launching a league. But my takeaway from that was just what an epic journey with 19 other women that became sisters and family that we still stay in touch today, because we didn't have a league. So we had to go into a residential period where we all basically put our lives on hold and moved together in Florida for 6 months to train. So that's what's exciting to know, that someone like Switzerland has chosen San Diego, because I know what it's like to have that singular focus on being the best. And, Switzerland, they're top 20 team. They won their bracket and qualified after going undefeated. So I know the sacrifices it takes. I'm excited to be out there to support these teams and, bring a taste of this to San Diego, because it's just, imagine your most wildest dream coming true alongside teammates that have become family and lifelong friends.
San Diego's positioning itself as a true epicenter of soccer in the United States. San Diego FC, we have the Wave, international matches. We've had multiple of those already at Snapdragon Stadium. So with the build of the local professional teams so far in these last couple of years, obviously close to international border, great youth club teams here in San Diego. A lot of the D1 teams here in town are also really good at soccer. But how do you see these friendlies helping build the excitement, not just for the World Cup this summer, but for the long-term growth of this game in our city and our region?
I think it's going to spark excitement in, those that maybe haven't gone out to an SDFC match and seen the excitement and passion that they put on every match, in the great inaugural season last year. And they're going to follow that up with the same this year. And I've long known San Diego is a soccer city. And so to have a taste of World Cup in our backyard just helps elevate that message and puts it on a bigger stage for people to see. From, to your point, all the youth teams and the tournaments we host, the collegiate teams. It's a blessing and a curse. San Diego, you get to play 360 days out of the year because of our weather. So it's no secret that it's a beautiful place. It's a great city to play. And again, I just know everyone's going to show up and really make sure everyone knows that San Diego is here to stay in the soccer world.
Tickets go on sale today at sandiegofc.com/countdown to 26. As that proud San Diegan that you are, who's elevated soccer here throughout through the work in the community and through some professional teams and through all the teams here in San Diego, what is your message to families, soccer clubs, kids, fans across the region about why these 2 days in June at Snapdragon Stadium will be special and why they should cash in and try to go attend some of these events?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in if you can see it, you can be it. So the opportunity for these young youth players, boys and girls, to go out to Snapdragon Stadium and just feel the energy and the excitement of international soccer, World Cup quality matches. It's exciting, and I think it's going to continue to further ignite the passion in this city, and hopefully that trickles down into supporting our pro teams and our collegiate teams. And at the end of the day, I think in the youth realm, we got to give the game back to the kids. Let them come see that these are professionals, but they're also playing for the love and joy of the game.
Shannon, we're excited for it. Thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing some international soccer here in San Diego, and enjoy the matches while they're here back in San Diego.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing everyone out there. It's going to be a fantastic weekend.
Thanks again. Shannon MacMillan joining us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. Big event coming to San Diego. We got some international friendlies. And the Swiss are great. What a smart move by the Swiss to make their home base here in San Diego.
Yeah, I know, right?
Genius. Why wouldn't you want to be here? In the middle of the summer? Are you kidding me? Somebody gets stuck with like Kansas City or something like that, or like St. Louis, or somebody in the middle of the country. Is there a list?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, let me look for a minute.
What is it? Home base or something like that? World Cup, home base World Cup 2026. Yeah, the base camps where each team will have their base camp. Oh man, we're already off to a hot start. Croatia's in Alexandria, Virginia. Saudi Arabia is going to be in Austin. That's going to be hot.
From what this is from NBC Sports, at least from what I'm seeing.
That's the same article I have.
Okay, yeah. Argentina's in Kansas City, France in Boston, Brazil is in Morristown, New Jersey. Sorry,
Spain
Brazil.
is in Chattanooga. You know how hot it is in Chattanooga in the middle of the summer? Oh my God.
U.S. is going to be up in Irvine. Germany's in
Wow,
Winston-Salem.
Kansas City got 3. Kansas City's got Argentina, England, and the Netherlands. But you're Algeria. I want to be at Rock Chalk. They're in Lawrence, Kansas.
Saudi Arabia is in Austin, Texas.
Japan knows what's up. They're in Nashville. That's a good place to be. Japan's like, we'll go to Nashville. That sounds like fun.
Ivory Coast in Chester, Pennsylvania. They just put some of these people in some of the most obscure places known to man.
San Diego's got 2, actually. We have Switzerland and New Zealand.
Yes.
I think, one of us practicing at USD, I think. Santa Barbara got Austria and Qatar. Playa del Carmen, that's not Uruguay picked a good spot. That's a nice little city. That's a nice city. How about Australia's going to Oakland? Who signed off on that? The one city in the United States that like not a single sports team wants to stay. Australia is like, we'll go there.
How bad could it be?
Yeah, it can't be that bad, right?
How bad can it be?
Do they get to pick, or they put out bids and then?
Okay, so SoCal is the way this is mapped out is so weird. Okay, so Columbia is going to be practicing at University of South Carolina in Atlanta.
I would imagine a lot of these countries are probably playing in training at colleges.
This is so. There's clearly a scroll here, but it's not letting me scroll.
Could be an internet problem.
No, it's not. It's this website's being stupid problem.
Oh, we have more people that are upset with the more people upset with your headline today.
That's cool. Again, I just put out an explanation. Read that. I'll try that one.
People in this day and age are so quick to just they want to tell people they're wrong and how smart they are, and they look like doofs in the process.
Looking through San Diego, New Zealand is going to be practicing here. And then Switzerland's going to be up in Del Mar, up in the Del Mar, Solana Beach area. There's a couple in TJ. One in TJ. It's just a training site. It's not a...
False alarm. You're saying this... Hold on a second. The Swiss are coming here to be their base camp. Not only they're staying in Del Mar.
Yeah, the way this map shows it,
are they staying at La Bears or something like that?
It does show the hotel, the Fairmont Grand Del Mar.
No, that's nice too. The Swiss know how to travel, man.
It doesn't say where they're going to be training at, but it says they're staying at the SDJA is where they're training.
SDJA is the San Diego Jewish Academy.
Well, that's what it says. It says SDJA.
I'm surprised they're not training at the polo fields or whatever like that. Well, I guess it's they got youth soccer there.
It says
is New Zealand training at USD?
Yes, New Zealand is training at USD, and they're staying at the Hyatt. They're staying at the Hyatt in La Jolla.
So nice. Good on New Zealand and Switzerland. They have the best. They have the best training facilities, for sure. The best base camps, if you will. Anyway, so we have, just to recap, Switzerland's going to play Australia on Saturday, June 6th in an international friendly at Snapdragon Stadium. Colombia is going to play Jordan on Sunday, June 7th. Again, you can get your tickets at sandiegofc.com/countdown to 26 as we get some international soccer here in the United States. When we come back, we are going to get to our sports thread. The NFL is getting investigated and continuing to do things they're getting investigated for. We'll talk about that in the sports thread. And then we will also, they're doing getting investigated for something, and then they're still doing that same thing as they're getting investigated for it. We got to see whether or not they're screwing over their fans in terms of too many platforms to watch. Meanwhile, they're negotiating with new platforms to move NFL games to.
You need 10 different platforms. Count them. 1, 0. 10 different platforms to watch all the NFL games this year.
I will say this. Just wait for them to just start. Do you want to watch this next play? $2. 99 cents. That's just 99 cents. I got to watch the next play. It's third down.
It'd be like old arcade games. You get a 20-second countdown, and you just have to keep feeding the coin slot in order to keep watching the game.
That was like that. The racing game was like Cruising USA,
Daytona USA.
Well, they have Cruising USA where they don't drive. They don't race on tracks. You're racing through like cities and stuff like that. You got like the streetcars and stuff. You got the nitrous and stuff. But like on that game, there was like one button that would run the timeout so you could start over, and there was another button that would reset the timer so you could like ask your mom for more tokens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. That's what they're gonna do on Netflix. You still want? You want to watch the next play? Pay up, bitch. 99 cents. Want to watch the next play? Don't give them any ideas. We'll also hear what the latest is on Nick Pivetta when we come back. The Braden Surprenant Show, standings number Sports Station 97 through the Fan. The NHL regular season is coming down to the wire, and even though most playoff teams are set, the chaos is just getting started. Seeding is still up for grabs, and that matters, or does it? Because here's the reality. Being a top seed in the NHL doesn't guarantee you anything. Avalanche already locked up the best record in hockey, and the Hurricanes are about to take the East, but that doesn't mean they're safe. Why? Because wildcard teams like the Kings and the Predators can sneak in, and those are the most dangerous teams in the playoffs. Already playing do-or-die hockey. At the same time, the MVP race just flipped. Nikita Kucherov is now leading over Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon, so everything is happening at once. Playoff races, MVP battles, and teams fighting for positioning. But the biggest question is this: does seeding actually matter, or is it all about who gets hot at the right time? Because in the NHL, momentum changes everything. The NHL regular season is officially down to its final days, and while the NHL playoff spots are mostly locked in, seeding chaos is everywhere heading into the Stanley Cup playoffs this weekend. At the top, Colorado already has clinched the President's Trophy, locking in home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. Meanwhile, Carolina Hurricanes are closing in on the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, continuing their dominant season. But the real drama, well, it's in the middle. The Atlantic Division is still a 3-team race with the Buffalo Sabres, Montreal Canadiens, and Tampa Bay Lightning, all within a couple of points, meaning matchups could flip at the last second. Out west, the wild card race is pure chaos. The LA Kings currently control their own destiny, but teams like Nashville and San Jose are still mathematically alive. Bottom line, who knows who's in, but we don't know who's playing who yet. As we record this on Monday, the biggest takeaway to me is, and I know we're going to take a deeper dive into what to watch this week, but the reality is the NHL playoff format used to be great, and they changed it, and it doesn't make any sense now of why they're doing it this way. There's teams with a lot of good wins, and actually more wins in regulation, missing the postseason for teams that lose a lot in overtime. The way the seeding plays out doesn't make a lot of sense. I like the old system. The new one is creating for the wrong kind of controversy.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter in a way, because the NHL postseason always brings out some of the craziness that sports has to offer. It is by far and away the most entertaining, the best entertainment for value playoff out of any of the 4 major sports. I would take the NHL playoffs over anything right about now.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, they had top 8 in each conference, and then they would reseed. Seeding actually did probably matter. I mean, you have really good matchups in the first round with highly competitive teams, but you're eliminating some of your best teams in the early rounds instead of like later on. I don't necessarily know if it's the best path for the playoffs, but tonight's slate, as we record this on Monday, and I might have to post this one today and post a different one on Thursday that we usually do. But Monday's slate is massive. Playoff positioning and eliminations on the line. The Kings can clinch a playoff spot with a win. Flyers can lock into a playoff matchup with the Penguins. Hurricanes can secure the number 1 seed in the East. Sabres can win the Atlantic Division. And don't overlook the Pacific Division. The Vegas Golden Knights and Edmonton Oilers are battling for the top spot. Then that could determine the easier or much harder path at round 1. At the same time, the draft lottery is shaping up with teams like the Blackhawks and the Rangers already locked into top odds. I look at like my own team in the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, what a poor time to start playing poor hockey. They had a chance to clinch on Sunday night, finally a playoff spot, which seems to be inevitable, but they continue to push it down the road with 2 games left as they get ready to play the Wild later this week. They had a chance against the Canucks on Sunday, a team that has been awful all season, and they lose in overtime.
Yeah, we've brought up the fact that last week, the New York Islanders firing their head coach, Patrick Waugh, to try to snap the team into better form. They did win their first game under Peter DeBoer, but they've lost the next 2. They're now out of the playoffs, and most teams at this point, again on Monday as we record, only have about another game, maybe 2 left in the season. So it is really down to crunch time in the NHL right now.
As the season wraps, the biggest individual storyline is the MVP race. And right now, Frank, it's getting pretty heated at the top.
Yeah, right now, Nikita Kucherov surging into the lead for the Hart Trophy, the MVP of the league. Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon right now are right up there with him. Nikita Kucherov's case, he carried Tampa through injuries, still putting up insane numbers. Meanwhile, Zach Werenski now leading in the Norris race. New York Islander rookie Matthew Schaefer seems to be a lock for Rookie of the Year, and Andrei Vasilevsky leading the Vezina Trophy race as the best coach. So not only are teams fighting for positions, players like these guys are making last-second MVP and potential award statements as well.
Is seeding actually an advantage in the NHL playoffs, or does it not matter at all? I mean, eventually you do have to beat the best team if you want to win the NHL playoffs. But here's the thing. I mean, we're watching teams fight like crazy for positioning right now, but in the NHL, seeding can be completely misleading. A top seed might get stuck facing a red-hot wildcard team like the Kings or Predators, and teams that are playing playoff hockey before the playoffs even start. Meanwhile, a lower seed could actually have an easier matchup. So the question becomes, are teams better off chasing the top seed or just getting in and catching? Anybody actually read the tweet that we put out? I've had too many people reach out to me about that. People like your fun little joke, dude.
Padres, you guys better win tonight.
So you can keep it going?
Yes. I want this to go one more day.
Let me explain this to anybody that saw it. So this is what our tweet said today, okay? This is what our tweet said today for the show.
Said the same thing yesterday, too, just 5 instead of 6.
He literally did. He literally did say the exact same thing yesterday on the show account. If you haven't followed our show account yet, this is a good time to go check it out. Go read it yourself at B_SURP show on X. Go check out the B Surp show. Now, this is like, it's so funny how like people can't read. So here is the, you put, your rebuttal is even funnier. I just saw it now. Our show tweet today. 6 straight wins over teams to sweep the Astros. B-Serp going live in 10 minutes. Replies. Wrong 3 times in 1 sentence. Impressive. Whoa, is any of that correct? 6 straight wins over teams to sweep the Astros. So far, there have been, I think the Astros have been swept only twice.
I think so.
Let me double check that.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, too.
The Astros had lost like 8 straight games, whatever it is. The Astros, who are about to, I think we could bring back the nickname the Lastros again. The Astros have been swept twice this year. They got swept by the Rockies, and they got swept by the Mariners.
Where did the Rockies go
Hang
after?
on. They got swept by the Rockies, who then went to San Diego, and the Padres swept. In how many games?
4.
That would be 4 straight wins against teams that had swept the Astros for the Padres, correct?
They had just swept the Astros.
Correct. I mean, this even applies for anybody that swept the Astros, too, by the way.
True.
Because these are the only 2 teams that have. So that would be 4 straight wins. And then the Mariners, after the Rockies played the Astros and swept them, the Mariners played the Astros and also swept the Astros. And then came here. And then the Padres have beaten them the first 2 teams of this series. So if you add those 2 with the other 4, and they are all in a row, that would be 6 straight, which means the Padres have 6 straight wins over teams that have just swept the Astros. What is so hard to understand about that?
But they've won 7 in a row.
I understand that, but did the Pirates play the Astros this year?
No.
No, they haven't. My other thing is too, like I had one of my buddies goes like, "What does this have to do with the Astros? Why do we care? We don't care. It's just funny.
It's an interesting statistic.
It's just fun."
So it's one of them coinky dinks.
My buddy sent me this text. He's like, "Well, I read it. I digested it. I still have no clue what you're saying. They beat the Mariners and Rockies. What does that have to do with the Astros?" It has nothing to do with the Astros. It's a coincidence that we wanted to bring up. It's funny. I responded with, "It's funny that both teams just swept the Astros and we've won 6 straight against teams that sweep the Astros. It doesn't mean anything. It's fun, man. Have some fun." End scene. Those are my thoughts about that. I wonder how many more people will comment on it. Because we had this guy on Facebook do the exact same thing on the Facebook chat.
I've put out a visual aid to help people on our Twitter now.
As written by Frank on the Braden Surprenant show page. Since we seem to have a bit of confusion over on the pre-show tweet today, Rocky swept the Astros before coming to Petco Park. Then there's a wonderful graphic showing that the Astros have swept the Rockies have swept the Astros.
It's not even a graphic. It is a literal screenshot from the Rockies
which is the funniest
website.
thing. Yeah, exactly. Padres swept them in 4 games. Mariners swept the Astros before coming to Petco. Here's the graph from their schedule, sweeping the Astros in 4 games. And Padres won the first 2 games. Thus, 6 straight wins over teams to sweep Houston. There's people driving around going like I mean, are you kidding me with this? It's all factual. What is that thing John Boy does? Things that happen but don't matter in baseball or something like that?
Yeah.
Stats that don't matter. Stats that happen but don't matter in baseball or something like that.
Baseballism,
as
Frank Watkins says in the chat.
Baseballism. Hilarious. All right, let's get to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, what do we got going on in the sports world? What's the NFL up to?
Well, we were going to start with the NFL anyway, but we'll do the honorable mention. The NFL is now negotiating to have 5 games on YouTube TV while being investigated for taking games off of cable television and putting them behind paywalls on streaming websites.
Being investigated for something that might be illegal and then continuing to do illegal thing on the side as you're getting investigated for it.
Solid business plan. Seems like a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Number 1.
That's amazing.
The National Football League has begun preparing replacement officials as its collective bargaining agreement with the NFL Referees Association nears expiration on May 31st, signaling a growing concern over a potential labor dispute. In a memo from Senior VP Perry Fewell, teams were informed that several replacement refs have already passed background checks and will begin training around May 1st, with plans in place for them to work OTAs and mini camps if no deal is reached. Despite ongoing negotiations, reportedly including a 6-year offer with an annual raise, key disagreements remain over structural changes like extended probation periods and reduced senior influence. The league is also preparing centralized officiating support from New York if replacements are used, highlighting the seriousness of the impasse and its potential impact on the upcoming NFL activities. If replacement officials are used, how might that affect game quality and player safety, especially early in the NFL season?
I think they've probably, they're, at least this is not Major League Baseball doing this. The NFL usually learns from their mistakes at least a couple of times. So, like, for me, I think they're going to, just because they're not currently officiating the NFL doesn't mean they're poor officials. There's probably some good officials in the college ranks that they could bring up. I mean, sometimes you need new blood out there too. So I don't think it's going to be drastically different. Plus, here's the other thing too. You have the replay assist now, and you have more things that are reviewable than they were when you had the replacement official. I mean, a lot of the problems that arose from the replacement officials have now been fixed with replay assist and all this other stuff. So I'm not really worried about it. Honestly, like, what they should do is just have those guys not call anything. Call the most blatant things. That's it. And it'd probably work out. In fact, it might even be better.
Yeah.
Than the current officials. Just have them call the most basic stuff. Guy jumps off sides. Pretty hot, pretty yes or no if the guy jumped off sides or not. Limit the holdings. Let DBs make contact. Just let them play. They're probably better off that way. I don't think it's going to impact that mightily. I really don't.
You're not going to have a Packers Seattle situation again. They will. No. The NFL will not let that happen.
Number 2.
Live Golf CEO Scott O'Neill reassured players and staff that the 2026 season will continue, quote, uninterrupted and at full throttle, despite reports that Public Investment Fund could withdraw funding after investing more than $5 billion since the league's launch in 2022. While O'Neill did not directly address the funding concerns, the league is pushing forward with its schedule, including upcoming events in Mexico and in the U.S., even as questions linger about the long-term future. Live Golf, originally spearheaded by Greg Norman and backed by stars like Phil Mickelson, has struggled to gain traction in the United States despite global interest, facing challenges with television ratings, revenue, and course access. With ongoing uncertainty surrounding investment and sustainability, the league remains in a critical phase as it attempts to solidify its place in professional golf. Can Live Golf survive long-term without massive financial backing, or does its business model depend on continued outside investment?
They needed to become popular.
Yes.
That's what they needed to do. I mean, you can keep funding leagues by just writing checks, right? Like if anybody had the money to outpay NFL players and start a new football league, they would get those players to go play for them. It wouldn't take a lot, but you would have to build up years of loyalty to get TV contracts and to get all that stuff done in order for you to survive. And they had an opportunity when they brought people in. They tried to, and I eliminate all the political side of this thing, just from the league perspective for a second before people start freaking out. They tried to change some of the rules of golf. They tried to make golf a little bit more fun. They brought in some of the best golfers in the world. They overpaid them to come play in this thing, and people still don't watch it. I can't even tell you where to watch Live Golf. I don't even know where it's at.
I think it's on Fox.
And they only play a couple events a year, and they don't play in all of the big, they don't play in the big courses and stuff. And all it has done is just taking away from the PGA Tour. I don't think this is sustainable. When the league folds, PGA, by the way, instead of holding a grudge, bring all those golfers back and make your tour way better immediately. Immediately. No, it's not sustainable.
No, I agree.
They need someone in the bill, and it's not consumers because nobody watches.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3.
Major League Baseball Players Association fired 2 top executives, Xavier James and Michael O'Neill, following an internal investigation tied to a broader federal probe into alleged financial improprieties within the union. The dismissal comes amid significant leadership upheaval, including an earlier resignation from former executive director Tony Clark, and as the union prepares for a critical labor negotiation with Major League Baseball ahead of the collective bargaining agreement's December expiration. Former pitcher Chris Capuano has been named COO, with Ian Penny stepping in as interim HR chief. With federal investigators examining ventures like Players Way and One Team Partners, the turmoil raises concerns about stability within the union at a time when a potential lockout looms and the major economic issues like proposed salary caps are set to dominate negotiations. How might internal instability within the Players Association impact its ability to negotiate effectively in the upcoming negotiations?
Yeah, they got to be aligned because it sounds like the owners are very much aligned this time. Yep. And that's always been the problem. The players have always been more aligned than the owners have. It sounds like the owners are a little bit more aligned. And every single time, so far, the Players Association has been taking L's recently.
Mm-hmm.
Massive L's recently.
And not just within their own ranks, in the court of public opinion as
right,
well.
Right, exactly. So they're going to have to change face here very quickly. To win that particular battle. But yeah, it is difficult to negotiate when you got people that want to jump. They're not all on the same page. Yes, that's going to be tough. And the owners have a lot more money this time around, and they're willing to pump in a lot more stuff. And they're not coming off of a pandemic either.
Yeah, and these are sport-changing negotiations that they're getting into.
Should be interesting to see. and play out. When we come back, we relive Jackson Merrill. We also hear from Nick Pivetta. Noon to lunchtime hour on 97 through the Fan.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
Barrera ready. Here's the pitch. Jackson swings, hits it hard, and fair up the left field line. Camposano will score. Laureano rounding third. Arozarena lost the handle. The Padres are going to win. A 5-run bottom of the ninth inning to come all the way back. It's 7-6, and it's over.
How about that? What a great call by Jesse Agler as the Padres win 7-6. You heard him say it. 5 runs in the ninth inning to knock off the Seattle Mariners, win the series, and now go for a sweep later on this afternoon, early evening. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are a part of our noon lunchtime hour, which is brought to you by Craft Taco, both flavors, 2 locations, Sorrento Valley, and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. We needed some party tacos last night, huh?
I'm waiting for the tacos. Where the damn tacos at?
Where are the tacos at, Jeremiah? Get the tacos flowing. What a game, what a game, what a game. Fun last night. Usually it's fun to play the opposing call. Aaron Goldsmith did a pretty good job. He wasn't like sad about it. He wasn't really sad about it. But that was a great game yesterday. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk more about the game. We're going to hear from Nick Pivetta here in a second. Do want to get your phone calls, though. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Long time, no talk, man. Hey, I got a couple of things for you, brother. If Crony keeps stinking up the joint, might see a little more toddy at second. I love Crony, but bro's got to start finding some holes, man. And the second thing is, I think I might have a new bit because even though I'm a big Padre fan, you know, I grew up a Yankee fan. I think I've told you guys that before. So instead of calling and talking about the Ducks all the time, I think my new deal is every single time Arson Fudge hits a bomb like he did today, I'm going to call up just to irritate Frank. Number 8 today, Frankie. The AA run starting to heat up, brother.
That's
what do you
cool.
think about that?
That's cool. When is he going to do that in the World Series?
Here we go. Here we go. I don't know. Something the Mets haven't done in a long time. Hey, what?
I just, you know, when he doesn't have a 4 strikeout game in the World Series, then say something.
You know
That's
what?
fine.
I don't mind the bid from Derek. Derek, as long as you go back to the Ducks when we get to August, I'm on board for the Arson Fudge banter with Frank. You just got to go back to the Oregon Ducks in the fall.
You got it, guys. Hey, have a good day. Go Pods.
All right, see you, Derek. Appreciate it. Go Pods. Imagine being a Yankees fan for them.
Imagine the misery you must live in.
Frank dumped the call.
I didn't dump him. We got it back.
I know. Listen, I saw you going like this, though. Saw you going like that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Ivan in San Diego, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Ivan?
A little bit of an overreaction after last night's win, but I can tell you how huge that was. Nick Pivetta going down. Next week or two, you're going to have the ownership changing. Now you see, hey, we showed this entire week 3 walk-off wins. We can come back and win. That actually creates a team camaraderie showing you could win coming back from 5 runs. But now show them, hey, if our Nick Pivetta goes down, maybe ownership opens up the wallet and it goes after someone big, right? So,
that is something possible. I would appreciate the phone call. I mean, you know, obviously right now, and this is why this was brought up earlier this week on the Lucas Giolito situation. What was brought up was Padres kind of have to jump through some hoops of the hierarchy of approval of, can we add more money? Because it's current ownership, it's new ownership. I mean, you're in the process of a deal. Do you want to add more debt potentially to what they have to inherit or whatever it may be? Not to say like adding another player would add like to that $300,000 or whatever the $3 million was in debt, or whatever the amount is. But it goes to the situation of, adding to the team the finances that they're going to have to deal with. It's like, well, we didn't sign off on that. You can't, like, what you can't do is in organizations about to sell is you can't just go like, oh, let's just spend a bunch of money that's not ours. They're not going to do that. But you know what? If they get this process through, and as they go through the longer process, because even if they pick a winner, if you will, to this sale, as Frank mentioned earlier in the show, there's still a lot of things that have to go through for the sale to be finalized and everything like that. I mean, it took the Orioles like a year to get that all approved, but at least at that point, you know who to sign things off with, and maybe they might tell the Padres like, hey, let's add to this. Let's try to make this thing happen right now. So it's definitely an interesting take. Let's talk about Nick Pivetta for a second. And for anybody that missed it yesterday, and I don't know how many of you did, we got more information on Nick Pivetta. And do we have we have clips from both him and Stammen? Let's talk about, let's play the one from Craig Stammen first about what they found out at the latest with Nick Pivetta yesterday, and then we'll talk about what Nick Pivetta had to say. But here's Craig Stammen on kind of a follow-up yesterday before the game about what they learned more about Nick Pivetta.
Disappointing. We didn't think it was going to be, that significant, but ended up being a flexor strain, and, he's going to rehab it and take some time off and then get it right.
I know it's probably early, but is there any sort of timeline, an idea on what the exact next steps are in terms of rehab?
Yeah, I think we're kind of discussing exactly what that looks like. He's definitely going to take some time off throwing, let it rest, let it heal, and then get back on the throwing program and strengthening program. So it's probably going to be more weeks and maybe months than it is just specific days. So he's going to take some time, but, we feel pretty confident he's going to get back this year.
Is there any relief on maybe it not being more serious than that, I guess? Was there a concern that it could be?
I guess so. Yeah, it's relief that we feel like he can rehab it and come back. Yes, there's relief in that. I remember when I tore my flexor, his is not torn, his is straight. But when I tore one, I didn't really know anything about the difference. Told the doctor, I said, well, that's a good thing. It's not my ligament. And he said, well, we'll see about that. And he was right. It's, it's very significant. And anytime you're dealing with the pitcher's elbow, there's always something going on. But, I think Nick's in a good spot. He's ready to tackle this rehab. And I think, like I said, we feel good that he's going to make it back.
Craig, do they grade those out, like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3? Is there any way to give an idea of the severity of his particular strain?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the doctors probably can be able to do that, but I'm not an expert on reading MRIs and all that kind of stuff. But, we've consulted multiple doctors, and they kind of came to the consensus that this is what it is. And, he just needs a certain amount of time off, and then he can start throwing again and try to get him back.
I think it's good news and bad news, right, Frank? I mean, the good news is it's not torn. He's got a flexor strain, which is slightly different. The other good news is it's not a UCL, which would lead to Tommy John surgery. So with those two things, I think it's that is a very positive thing. It's negative in a sense that, he's going to have to take some time. And he's had to take a significant amount of time. Now, before we talk about how they go about this with Nick Pivetta, let's hear from Nick Pivetta himself about what he found out.
Do you have any update on how you're feeling, your status?
Yeah, feeling better day by day. It's going to take some time. It's going to be a little bit of a process, but have a good medical staff here, trying to do the right things and just try to get ahead of it.
It sounded like as of yesterday, there wasn't necessarily a plan in place for that process. Do you kind of know what that
looks like? No, I think we're just going to take time to rest and kind of just allow some healing to happen and go from there.
You have to say kind of no set timetable?
Yeah. No, not yet, no.
What did the MRI show?
I'm not going to go into that.
I know you were. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Having the season that you had last year and kind of off to a pretty start this year? Like, how frustrating is
Yeah, it's really frustrating for me personally. I mean, I was feeling really well. I felt like I was pitching better. I love contributing to the team. I take great pride in playing baseball, playing for the fans, playing for my teammates, the organization. So, just take a step back, lean on my teammates, lean on Joe, Darvish, and just see how it goes from here. Yeah.
I know that you did miss that start in spring. Is this something that felt similar to that or was related to that?
I think it probably correlates a little bit. I think it's something a little bit different in this sense, but I think it, parts of that probably came back to it.
When you say give it some rest, are you anticipating like weeks at a time, or do you don't have?
I don't have a timetable. No.
Do you have confidence that you'll be back this year?
Yeah. I do. Yes.
So the expectation is you're hopeful to avoid any type of operation?
For me, it's just focusing on rehab. I have really good strength, which is a positive. And I think just listening to my body, making sure that I'm actually listening to it, not just pitching through things, and then taking the right measures. And, leaning on the great medical staff we have here. And, those guys are going to help me out like they have before.
What was the thing he said he wasn't going to answer?
He wasn't going to get into his MRI, what the MRI showed.
Right. I think that's fair. He doesn't have to say that information. All right. So basically, he's got a flexor strain. It's not a tear. Sounds like they're going to let him rest for weeks to months to get up and running. It sounds like it's 4 to 6 weeks to rest, and then after that, you can start throwing again, and then it's going to be a little bit of a process. But the interesting thing here is, it honestly, from a positive standpoint, this is the time of the year you would, I don't want to say you don't want any of this to happen, but, this is the time, if it's going to happen, you'd rather have it happen at this point of the year than at the end of the year or after the trade deadline or anything like that. So there's a couple of things that the Padres can do. I think it opens the door for Matt Waldron to showcase what he has done in AAA and to show that he belongs at the major league level. I think that he is able to do that now without having to give up potentially on Germán Márquez or Walker Buehler. Ruben Niebla can work with these guys. And obviously he picked these players in particular, Walker Buehler and Germán Márquez, where he gave some type of nod that we can make this happen in order for the organization to keep it. Because if Ruben Niebla couldn't get anything out of these guys, JP Sears would be on the team.
Yeah.
Or Tristan McKenzie or Marco Gonzalez or anybody else that's in AAA right now would be on the team right now. They're not. So with that being said, he obviously thinks he can get something out of these guys at the back end of the rotation. And that's why tonight's a very big start again for Walker Buehler. Just like on Friday, it's a very big start for Germán Márquez. And then Saturday for Matt Waldron. These three are battling for rotation spots, especially until Griffin Canning comes back. But the other thing, too, what did we say? 130 to 138 days consecutively on the injured list? 130.
It's August 21st is his.
I remember the August 21st part. I remember it was 130, 138. 130. But if he gets, if Nick Pivetta is on the injured list from now through August 21st, and he doesn't come off till after then, his contract turns into a club option for next year at $14 million, which is a couple of good, one, it protects you if he's out for the entire year, right? Because at that point, you wouldn't pick up the contract. He goes into free agency, and now you're not paying him $14 million to rehab. You can renegotiate something like that, whatever. So it protects you, but also, what it also does is, let's say Nick Pivetta does come back, Frank. Bob Scanlon brought it up on the roundtable. He's going to have, his arm's not going to be fatigued with.
Yeah, he'll be right as rain, ready to go.
He'll be rested up. He would miss most of the middle of the season. It's the same situation as last year, obviously, with some pitchers. When do you want to see Joe Musgrove pitch on this team?
End of the season.
End of the season. When do you want to see Nick Pivetta pitch on this team?
End of the season.
End of the season. Same thing as last year with you, Darvish. Michael King. You wanted to see them at the end of the season. There is risk involved, obviously. There's no guarantee he's going to come back. He's fully healthy. He expects to come back. Craig Stammen sounds like he expects to come back. he comes back after that and pitches well, all of a sudden you could pick up his club option and get him for next year for $14 million also. There's a lot of positive to this, Frank.
I just want to point out that somebody said it in the chat, and I know it was a joke. Make Mason Miller a starter. For anyone else, for anyone out there who is possibly considering that as a real option, you're taking Mason Miller completely off the table for at least a month, possibly 2, to get his arm stretched out enough to become a starter, which is why it was such a topic of conversation at the beginning of the offseason, whether or not you want him to do that. He said he'd be willing to do it. He said it probably wasn't where he felt the most comfortable with how his career trajectory is going, but that's why you do that during the off season, because now in order to get his arm stretched out, you're going to be missing him, period, for at least 2 months, which by that time, you don't know. Nick Pivetta might be back by then. So I know it was a joke in the comment section, but for people who are thinking of that as a legitimate option, that's why you can't, is because he's going to have to be out entirely to stretch his arm out to get him ready to become a starter.
That's why we talked about it in the offseason. That's an offseason move. That is a decision that you make in October, November, December, around the winter meetings before you make a decision on what you're going to do in terms of like bringing people in, and you get the whole offseason to get prepared to do something like that. I don't think it's as big of a, I mean, it's not great. I mean, not having Nick Pivetta is not great. I kind of have to trust in Ruben Niebla to get innings out of guys. I really do. I like a lot of the individual stuff out of some of these pitchers that have been out there. Now, your starting rotation's not, this is not a rotation you want to go into the playoffs with. But I think you got to be patient until Griffin Canning comes back. You got to try to steal some wins right now. Got to weather the storm, and you got to hope. I mean, you got to hope that Matt Walsh can go out there and do exactly what be that. See what he's got as a guy that's now attacking downhill and the confidence. I mean, we heard all the right things out of Matt Waldron. Now he's got to go do it this weekend against the Angels. So I just, the fact that he's not out, I mean, the fact that he's not out for the season so far, I think is positive news. The fact that he could potentially return is positive news. I like the way a lot of these guys have been pitching. And, last year, I keep bringing up last year. Last year, they made it through most of the season without any of their top starters. It was Nick Pivetta kind of carrying the load. Randy Vásquez was solid, wasn't like spectacular, but you look through it, like how they made it through the season last year. They won 90 games last year. And in those 90 wins, they had guys they had a lot of different people pitching in games. And now they have an opportunity. They could, if they don't believe that Nick Pivetta can come back, they can go sign Lucas Giolito. He's available. They can make a trade. We know AJ Preller's not going to wait to the deadline to make a move if he thinks he can make a move. Like there's options for the Padres, but I think you got to give it at least a week off of the news that we got from Dennis Lin that the Padres are close to naming the next owner, whoever, like the winning bid, if you will, for the Padres, which I think plays a factor into this. So overall, for Nick Pivetta, it could have been worse news. I think for considering the injury we saw, I think you could pull a lot of positives out of it. Now,
it's not Tommy John surgery, and the one thing that I find the most concerning optically about it is that he's not using that arm at all. Like in the handshake line, he's using his left arm. That's the biggest concern optically.
He has to rest for 4 to 6 weeks. He might as well not even put any type. He might as well just have that thing, just cast it so he doesn't move it. Leave it alone. Probably can't cast it. He probably needs movement and all that other stuff. But if he wants, he might have to be that extra careful just so he can pitch this year. And he's not taking any chances. Remember, it is a contract year for him, technically.
Yeah, like I said, it's just optically it's concerning. But physics and optics are completely different things.
But hopefully Joe Musgrove comes back at some point. We'll see what happens with Griffin Canning. Sounds like he's going to make another rehab start. Did Tim Haggerty say that's tonight for Canning?
He might. No, I think he said Waldron. Oh no, that was yesterday.
No, Waldron was supposed to go yesterday,
to start.
But I think he said Canning was supposed to go tonight for El Paso. We'll check that out during the break. When we come back, let's talk about the second base situation. We had Derek LeMesa call in about like, hey, you know what? Jake Cronenworth is not getting it done. Are we going to see Tatis a little bit more at second base? It's an interesting topic of conversation because now you got to think about who's playing right field. We'll discuss when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting Summer Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Major League Baseball is making no sense right now. That might be the best thing for baseball. We've got small market teams like the Pirates and Marlins competing with the big spenders. The A's just went into New York and dominated. Most divisions are separated by just a couple of games. Meanwhile, new stars are taking over. Jordan Walker is breaking out. Mason Miller looks unhittable. And some big names like Pete Alonso are off to slow starts. But don't panic. That won't last. Here's the biggest takeaway. This might be the most parity we've seen in baseball in years. And the real question is, do we like this? Because while parity makes things exciting, baseball still feels different when there are dominant teams everyone is chasing. Right now, it's chaos, and honestly, it's must-watch baseball. We're a couple of weeks into the Major League Baseball season, and already things don't make sense in the best way possible. Small market teams are winning, superstars are slumping, rookies look like veterans, and some preseason favorites, well, they're already playing catch-up. So the big question this week, what's real and what's just April noise? Biggest trend right now, real parity in baseball, as Major League Baseball looks as balanced as we've seen in years.
Yeah, absolutely. Most divisions are separated by just a few games. Teams like the Pirates and Marlins are competing with the big spenders. Even the Los Oclamento A's went into New York, Queens, and they went to Bronx as well, dominated.
Did they dominate in the Bronx though, as much as they dominated in Queens?
I believe they may have went 5-1. They may have went 5-1. I'm not sure.
Are you sure about that?
I know they went 3-0 in Queens. This kind of parity kills the argument for a salary cap and makes the league more exciting week to week. Does this feel real, or is it just an outlier from such a small sample size?
I feel like the league's kind of does have parity right now. I mean, the Twins are as we record this on Monday.
Yes.
The American League leader right now is the Minnesota Twins, who I thought was going to be the worst team in all of baseball. But they're not like dominant. They're like 9-7. Like everybody's around 500 right now. And like, I know we routinely say most teams are going to play 500 ball the entire season. It's just like whether or not you're going to go on a winning streak in those extra 42 games is the big difference between whether or not you make the playoffs or not. I feel like aside from the Dodgers, everybody seems pretty evenly matched, which I think is great for the sport.
And even the Dodgers are only a game ahead. They've got 11 wins at the moment. Again, recording this on Monday, they lead the league with 11 wins. The Padres and Braves have 10. Right. So it's not like, even though they are the measuring stick, they're not clear. They're right in the pack as well.
Well, and the other thing, too, like the Padres were in last place in the National League a week before.
A week ago.
And they went on a little bit of a tear. So I think you're starting to see some parity in Major League Baseball, which is great for the players who are arguing in the next CBA. It's not great for the owners right now, maybe. But
sample size.
It's only been 16 games for a lot of these teams. Now, you're starting to see some breakouts and some stars emerging. Jordan Walker finally living up to the hype. 7 home runs, insane OPS numbers. And mechanical changes are starting to pay off. As for the pitching, Mason Miller, unhittable. We've seen him firsthand. 19 strikeouts in his 7 outings. 19 strikeouts out of 18 batters he's faced.
28
he's faced. But in terms of like a lot of the outs that he has made, it's been mostly strikeouts. Look at like a mix of elite closers from the past. Aren't flukes. These aren't flukes. These are career turning leaps. And obviously for the Padres, you got to love what Mason Miller's been doing.
Yeah, certainly. And a great look for Jordan Walker as well. He was supposed to be the next big thing in St. Louis, and now he's finally starting to get that way. Slow starters, should we panic? Boston Red Sox, not looking good, especially on offense. Pete Alonso off to a slow start in Baltimore. Red Sox problem appears to be real. They do need another bat, as we said over the course of the offseason. And Alonso, I always say it with guys jumping over from the American League to the National League and vice versa. Their pitching is different in each league. You have to give guys switching leagues a little bit of leeway to get going, and that's exactly where Pete Alonso finds himself right now.
Yeah, it's always a brand new environment too. Like you're trying to perform for your new team. You're trying to show why they gave you the money that they gave you. You're trying to like almost prove yourself again. So I get where Pete Alonso's coming from in this particular deal. And we saw that with Manny here in San Diego. We saw it with, Fernando after his big contract. We've seen that with a lot of players after their, big contracts here in San Diego, a team that has handed out a lot of big contracts. So it's not surprising to me that Pete Alonso's in that situation to start the season. Surprise teams, Marlins, they look pretty legit so far. They're quietly building something real as of Monday of this week. Strong rotation led by Sandy Alcantara, young talent, producing, competitive even without key hitters. I don't really think it's too much of a fluke either. Me and you both thought Miami was going to compete a little bit more this year than they did last year. And even last year, they went on a little bit of a tear.
Yeah, at the end of last year, there was a warning shot that was fired by the Marlins, and they were, I believe, going into the weekend, they were leading the NL East. I don't really see them as much of a surprise because you could see the signs towards the end of last season that this could be real. Now,
12:26 on a Thursday. Need a contestant for the Midday Sports Standoff coming up in the next segment. You have an opportunity to win Padres tickets. This month's grand prize, if you take me down Sports Trivia, you'd be qualified for a chance to win a pair of field level seats to Padres and Phillies on Memorial Day. Again, if you win, you qualify. And then we pick a winner at the end of the month. So it's a good prize this weekend. Good prize this month for a Memorial Day outing. Padres and Phillies, field level seats, going to be a great time. We broadcast live from the Bill House Studios each and every day. We know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. When we went to break, we talked about what Derek and LaMesa brought up. Like Jake Cronenworth, he's hitting the ball hard, but he is not having a lot of success so far this season. In fact, he's batting, I think he's batting a 140 right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, $140.
Yeah, it's not very good.
And before we forget, yes, Griffin Canning is going for the Chihuahuas tonight against former friend Cal Quantrill.
Cal Quantrill, one of those guys that this guy was like the guy that was complaining about like how the Padres are built is like still complaining about it like almost 24 hours later about like the prospect thing. Why don't we have all these great prospects coming up? Nobody does.
Jackson Wolf started yesterday. Remember, yesterday was supposed to be Matt Waldron's day yesterday. So Jackson Wolf started, went 3 innings, only allowed 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, and Logan Gillespie followed with 3 of his own, no hits, 4 Ks. In a 14-1 shellacking of the Round Rock Express.
Take that, Texas Rangers. Was there saying come and take it? The Chihuahuas came. They took it. Thanks, big dog. From the little dog.
Just nipping at your heels the whole way.
I was like, was that the line from the from Transformers? I don't like you. I don't like this house. I don't like that little Taco Bell dog over there. Yo quiero Taco Bell. That was one of the best Taco Bell ad campaigns. The Taco Bell Chihuahua. I think I'm pretty sure like one of they had, I don't know if it was like a toy or they had like a thing where like you could get that one of those Chihuahuas was.
Oh yeah, it was like a plushie. Yeah,
it was like a plush, but then when you like hit it, it would say "Yo quiero Taco Bell." Little Taco Bell Chihuahua.
Those are not the tacos that Jeremiah Estrada wants, though.
No, those are tacos. Those are tacos after you like are hanging out at Moonshine after the Padre game for 3 hours. Those are the tacos you pick up. Not as authentic ones.
Or the chicken nuggets when the fryer works, unlike yesterday.
Did you go to Taco Bell yesterday and the fryer didn't work?
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to make them.
How could you tell?
How does your fryer not work? That's like going for like around dessert time and asking for ice cream machine's broken. They're just like, they just don't want to do it. You know what? When I was working at Starbucks, if we clean the blenders, Frappuccino machine was not working anymore after a certain time. Used to call it like 7:30. Guy would like knock on the door at 7:29. Yeah, what do you want? You want some coffee? I was hoping for a Frappuccino.
You can hope some more, bud.
It's broken. Sorry to tell you.
It's nice to want things, isn't it?
You'd be surprised at the amount of people that would knock on the window past the time on the door being closed. Like, look, if it's like 5 minutes before close,
brother, I used to.
Sure, whatever. But as soon as the door is locked, we are closed. We're closed.
Brother, I used to work at Vaughn's. Nothing like that would surprise me.
There's a couple of times at the Starbucks I was working at here where it would be, we used to close at like 7:30. It'd be like 8. It'd be like 7:45. And they'd try to open the door and it wouldn't work. And then we had another door. And so they tried that door and it didn't work. It says the hours on the front. They would look there, then they would knock. And then they were trying to get like people's attention. All the chairs have been put on the tables already. I'm like, bro, get a hint. They would keep knocking on the door. And then like the manager would be like, can I help you? He's like, yeah, I want to order something. It's like, we're closed, dude. Are you raising your voice at me?
Are you raising your voice at me?
Dude, everybody can hear you. Literally the best response you can give, I think, now. What is the, let me ask you this. When I go to places, if the place closes at 8, I'm not going there after 7 o'clock. I just feel like it's closed at that point. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be that guy. Is there something to that?
If, like, I remember, I went to a Starbucks for one of the cake pops, and we went like 5 minutes before it closed.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, it's just, I'm just getting a cake pop. Like, I wouldn't get like some big extravagant coffee, drink, whatever. I would get something simple that takes no cleanup whatsoever.
But I have this question, though. And I'm somebody that used to work at one of these places, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, my thing is, are you closed at 8 or are you not closed at 8? That would be my question. Like, I get both sides of the story here. Like, if you're closed until 8 o'clock, but you're going to stop serving anything until 7:30, is there something to be about, like, you can stay in the store until 8 o'clock, but you can't order past this time? I feel like restaurants should probably put that on their hours of like, hey, we close at 8 o'clock, but this is the time that you're like last call for a table.
Yeah.
Kind of attitude.
Yeah, that should be a thing. If I'm going somewhere, if I'm there, because again, I used to work in service, I know what this is like. I'm not ordering anything extravagant within like a half hour of the place closing. I'm doing like the simplest stuff. If I order something like that, I go out.
Like, what's the rule of thumb? Like, to me, like, even like a taco shop or something like that, it's like, oh, they close in like 35 minutes. I'm out. They're closed. In my opinion, I'm just that's just me. But like, I understand if like you go and it's like, well, you're still open. I don't like, what time do you actually close? I think there's different rules for different like levels. Like, I wouldn't try to get a table like 10 minutes before a restaurant closes.
No.
At that point, I think there needs to be online, on Yelp, on whatever. Businesses need to have the like, this is the time that we want you out of our restaurant. This is the time is the last time you can get a table. This is your last call for order. Like, and that needs to be on a website, or that needs to be on some type of sign. So it's not like this weird guessing game. I don't want to be rude, like, but are you still open? Like, I'll give you my money. I'll give you my business. Like, how much do you want to make money? And that's the other thing too. It's like, sometimes the employees don't care. It's not their restaurant. They're not putting their blood, sweat, and tears into that place like the owners are. And if they get let go, they don't care. They'll go find another job. They could give a you-know-what about whether or not the owner makes money. But if you're the owner and you're missing out on business and that's your entire livelihood is that restaurant, you might be more interested into like, yeah, we'll get you in for another 5 minutes to go. And if you're the guy, if you're the owner out there, busting your ass, you might say yes.
You can always tell the people who have worked in customer service because they're having this inner monologue that we're having out on the radio right now. The people who have never worked in customer service don't have this inner monologue. They just go because it says signs open.
Right. I'll take a look though first. Like, there's a lot of times, you guys open? Like, whatever. Like, say like, oh, we got chairs on the deal. Sometimes I'll go and I'll ask, you guys still open? And even they got like chairs and stuff on the tables. And sometimes the cool employees are like, yeah, dude, like whatever. What do you want?
Are you guys still open? I promise I'm not going to be an annoying pain in the ass. I'm going to get something simple.
Yeah. Can I get the food challenge one? Can I get that one, please? But I don't want this, and this on it. I feel like there's some type of, I would like to know from places. Because here's the other thing too. Like when I coach high school, and we got to get to break, but coaching high school football, games end late.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, like you're geared up from playing, you're hungry, or like you want to, like coaches want a beverage, whatever. Like we usually go to wherever we could get something to eat and a drink and watch the PPR. And like the cool thing was Mount Carmel was going to a place for a while up in that area. And so Rich Penske is on my way home. Drew Westling was at a place and they would just they'd be shutting down the kitchen at like 9, whatever. He's like, hey, if you stay open, and like I'm going to bring like a bunch of coaches and like parents and stuff here. They're like, not interested. So then he went to pitchers. I'm so glad he did this. He went to pitchers like, hey, look, like Friday nights, like we're going to get the PPR on. We will order food, whatever. Pitchers leaves their kitchen open.
There you go.
Later than they usually do on Friday nights. Cause it's like, not only is it Mount Carmel's coaches, but some of us Cathedral coaches are there. Torrey Pines. That was the fun experience for my friend who coaches at Scripps Ranch. That was the first time she was wearing Cathedral stuff with us, right? And she wondered why nobody came up and said hi to us. It's like, why is there all like friends and stuff? Nobody's saying hi to you. Oh, well, man. It's the Cathedral thing on there. This is first time? First time?
Really
I'm
quick.
sure if you're wearing a Scripps Ranch shirt, people would come up and say hi to you. No, we don't get that kind of treatment.
Really quick. Rod, I have a coworker who's notorious for going to Olive Garden right before they close, 10 minutes to 10. He's not a hole. He's doing the Lord's work. Olive Garden deserves it. Fake Italian food.
I don't really mind Olive Garden that much. It's all right. It is what it is. I'm a very much an Italian snob. There's not too many Italian places that I'm like, oh yeah, it's just better than what we make at home. There's some places that are really good. I frequent those places.
Yes.
Need a contestant for the Midday Sports Standoff when we come back. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Get yourself a chance to win tickets to Memorial Day when the Padres play the Phillies. Field level seats. If you take me down to sports trivia, you will qualify. We'll talk about it when we come back. Play the game. San Diego State just pulled off a no-hitter, and somehow that's not even the craziest part of their week. The Aztecs used 5 pitchers to shut out UC Riverside 1-0, absolute dominance on the mound. But then reality hit. San Diego State baseball got swept by New Mexico, giving up big inning after big inning. The talent is there, but the consistency, well, that's still missing. Meanwhile, softball is living the same story. They've got serious firepower. Kalia Pollard, Quinn Waikiki, and Olivia Gigante. But close losses and pitching struggles are costing them games. So here's the bottom line. San Diego State has the talent to compete across the board, but if they want to win championships, they've got to finish games. And right now, it's not about potential anymore. It's about execution. San Diego State delivered one of its most impressive performances of the season with a combined no-hitter and a 1-0 win over UC Riverside. 5 pitchers, Jake Cronenworth, Carson Johnson, Isaac Riza, Bryce McKnight, Aiden Russell combined for no hits allowed and 11 strikeouts. And the lone run came on Dawson Santana's RBI single, highlighting a pitching-led victory on a Tuesday night. But Frank, things did not look good for the Aztecs over the weekend.
Yeah, no, the Mountain West roller coaster against New Mexico really came on through. They entered the series against New Mexico hot, but game 1, they lost 5-3 on a walk-off on an Anthony Diaz home run in the 9th inning. Game 2, they lost 11-3 as the Lobos dominated with 16 hits. And then in game 3, they lost 12-8, a back-and-forth game decided by a big 7th inning by New Mexico. Their key issues, big struggling, allowing the big inning and defensive miscues and pitching lapses in key moments. Those are the real reasons why the Aztecs did not favor New Mexico at all.
They had some bright spots. Tice Peterson, team leading in home runs, clutch hitting. Max Farrell, consistent production, multiple hit games. Overall baseball takeaway this week for the Aztecs, elite pitching potential with the no-hitter. resilient offense, but inconsistencies. That's been a recurring thing for most of our T1 schools here in town when it comes to baseball and softball. It's the inconsistencies, especially against top Mountain West competition, that's going to cost them a chance to stay atop the standings and really cost them a chance for an NCAA tournament bid. But what's going on in softball?
Yeah, softball, they played against Utah State. They had lost the series 2-1. Lost the first game of the series 4-3. A late collapse, unfortunately, took them out of that one. A 9-1 win in game 2. They had run rule dominance again. It's very familiar to what we heard last week. And then lost 5-4 as a late comeback fell short. Again, something we heard very similar last week. Quinn Waikiki, a multi-home run game. Kiala Pollard continuing to stand out while hitting. And Kiana Pua, a strong pitching win. And then against Nevada, got swept in a doubleheader, unfortunately. 7-4 loss and a 13-2 loss on a run rule with late inning pitching being the big issue.
Yeah, they had late inning pitching struggles, inability to contain big offensive innings against San Jose State. They had split results as well. They won 6-1, big seventh inning rally. They lost 8-0. Run rule after resumed game. The highlight of that game was Olivier Gigante, multi-homer game and clutch hitting. Overall softball takeaway. Offense flashes explosive potential, especially from Pollard, Waikiki, Gigante, and Macario, but inconsistency, again, in pitching and defense has led to dropped series. Big picture takeaway from this week. I mean, the baseball team's got a very high ceiling, obviously, but they need to be more consistent in conference play. And for softball, they got a very talented lineup, but it's the pitching depth and late game execution that are concerns, almost like a tale of two teams with baseball and softball over there on the Mesa. So, which of these Aztecs teams do we think is the closest to turning its season into a true conference title run? Baseball or softball? For me, it's got to be baseball, because in these particular sports that are similar, pitching is what always gets you through. And San Diego State has shown that their starting pitching can help them in a lot of big ways.
Yeah, not even in the no-hitter as well, able to get through games. Games have been close. The bats have been able to work for the most part in the baseball side. So, yeah, I would say baseball is probably the more likely if there was going to be a turnaround out of the two.
This Reds Giants series is crazy. Giants win today, and then the final pitch where Eric Miller struck out Sal Stewart. Bench is cleared.
And that was after a spat earlier in the game, too.
Eric Miller goes, bleep yeah, sit the bleep down. And then Sal Stewart starts mouthing off to him, starts walking at him. He's like, bleep you, get the bleep out of here, get the bleep out of here. And then he starts doing the whole like, bleep you, bleep you, bleep you. He's like pointing at all these guys, bleep you, you're cool, bleep you, I'm out. He literally pulls that entire thing off with the final pitch of the game between the Giants and the Reds today. Hilarious. Baseball players are hilarious. And then it's all like this fake like posturing and stuff like that. I'll kick your ass, man. I'll kick your ass, man. Will you? Will you kick my ass?
On a completely unrelated note, Tickets for August 24th, 5th, and 6th in San Francisco just got a little bit harder to come by.
Are they playing the Reds?
Completely unrelated, no. No link to it at all. Just if you want your tickets to see the Giants in San Francisco on August 24th, 5th, or 6th, I would get them now.
That was the second bench clear of the day. And Vitello was also screaming at home plate umpire today.
Vitello
that
is
was
not,
an hour ago.
Vitello is not earning any favors with Major League umpires.
Well, Vitello did that in college, dude. Like, I've watched a lot of Tennessee baseball because my brother went there, obviously. So I've watched a lot of Tennessee baseball over the years. And Vitello's always been like that. His player's always bat flipping, all this other stuff. He's always been like that guy. I mean, but he's always been like just incensed. That works when you're like the best team in college. I don't necessarily know if that works when you're like the worst team in the MLB.
No.
And you're a brand new manager, but I digress with
brand
that.
new manager from college that's not good.
That umpire's screaming at him, dude.
He ain't
not
happy with
having
him.
it.
I'm telling you, he's
having it.
He is going to get ejected for some of the most ticky-tacky stuff this season, and you're going to point back to events like this.
I was hoping. I really hope the Giants lose like every game this year. It's so fun to watch them be miserable. The fact they're in last place is great. The fact that we lost 2 out of 3 to them, though, is frustrating. Let's get to today's, though, Midday Sports Stand-Up.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frankie, we got playing today.
We have Oli in Spring Valley playing today. Oli, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's we've had some walk-off fun here recently, have we not? 3 walk-offs over the last week. Well, last year, the Padres hit 8 walk-offs. I'm not asking for dates. I'm not asking for names. I'm asking for the teams, the 8 different teams that the Padres hit walk-off winners against last year. So just the teams. Oli, you have the first guess.
All right, I'm going to say we had a walk-off against the Rockies.
No, good
You're
thought,
right this
no.
year, but not last year. Let's go back to the first walk-off they had. Fernando Tatis Jr. hit the bomb against the Halos.
Correct. That was on May 13th. Fernando Tatis Jr. off of Kenley Jansen. Oli?
Let's say walk-off against the Mariners.
Also right this year, not
unfortunately
last year. I think a lot of them were against American League teams, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a 1, 2, 3. It's a 4-4 split.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think didn't Laureano get one against like the Red Sox late in the year?
Right on player and team. That was on August 9th, 2025. Laureano off of Garrett Whitlock.
I'm going to be running out of answers soon.
Oli, got to get this one.
Let's go the Brewers.
Got it. That was the last walk-off of the year last year. On September 22nd, Freddie Fermin off of Grant Anderson.
They did it against your New York Metropolitans last year. Was that part of the Jersey gate or
no? That was not. That would have been on July 28th. Elias Diaz.
Wow!
Off of Gregory Soto. Oli, It's the story for a comeback here, especially after last night.
Okay, let's go against, the Giants.
No, Oli, I'm sorry. Statistically, they do have the most walk-off hits against the San Francisco Giants.
Do they really?
They did not have any last year.
I think they got one. Well, the first time Nick Martinez pitched against the Padres last year, he almost threw a no-hitter.
Yep.
The second time he came in, though, I'm pretty sure he gave up a walk-off. Cincinnati.
That he did. That would have been on September 8th off of Fernando Tatis Jr. off of Nick Martinez. Got 3 more, 1 in the National League, 2 American League.
I think they own Texas. Usually bad things happen against Texas.
4th of July, Jake Cronenworth off of Robert Garcia against the Rangers. 1-1. American League Central, NL East.
Marlins. Wow.
May 26th, Jake Cronenworth off of Cade Gibson.
You said American League Central?
Mm-hmm.
Are we named any American League Central teams?
Nope.
No, we haven't. They suck against the Twins. They have in the past. I don't think any of the games against the White Sox were close enough to walk off.
It was on June 22nd.
Did they play the Tigers late last year? They played the Tigers late last year, didn't they? June 22nd.
Hit by Jose Iglesias.
Wow. No, they played the Tigers early last year because they
played the Guardians in the opening weekend.
But they played the Tigers early in a road trip because it was the same road trip where like Arise was out and they had all these guys out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember them walking off any of those games. I think they went 1-2 against the Tigers and they didn't win on a walk-off.
How are you going to walk off on a
You can't do that on the road anyway. Yeah, so okay, let's do that. So they played the Guardians at home the first week and they destroyed everybody. So it's not them. They played the White Sox there, so that can't be a walk-off. Did they play the Twins there? No. It could be the Twins, I guess. And then they played we're playing at Kansas City this year. So it's either the Twins or the Royals. Let's go Kansas City.
It was Kansas City.
That's a 50-50 guess.
John Schreiber was the pitcher. Say Iglesias.
We're playing at Minnesota this year, right? No, let's see.
Minnesota's coming here.
Okay, so they couldn't have done it against Minnesota last year anyway. So they played. We got the Twins here, the White Sox here, and the Tigers here, which means the Guardians and the Royals are on the road. So it was only a chance between the Royals and the Guardians on a walk-off, and they played the no walk-off for the Guardians. Okay. It was the Royals, yes, David. Vu in the chat. I guess I could have done that for like the 4. I should have I totally forgot about that. The fact that you flip with the American League teams when you have 4 American League teams. Yeah, they did. They were in the 4. They had the Texas Rangers on the 4th of July weekend.
Yep. So again, it was the Angels on May 13th. Fernando off of Kenley Jansen.
I remember that one clearly because they still play the highlight for it.
Marlins on May 26th. Cronenworth off of Cade Gibson. Royals. Cade Gibson. Kansas City Royals on June 22nd. Iglesias off of John Schreiber. Rangers on the 4th of July, Jake Cronenworth off of Robert Garcia. Mets on July 28th, Edwin Diaz off Gregor Soto. Boston Red Sox, August 9th, Laureano off of Garrett Whitlock. Cincinnati Reds, September 8th, Fernando Tatis Jr. off of Nick Martinez. And the Milwaukee Brewers, September 22nd, Freddie Fermin off of Grant Anderson.
We already have 3. This year?
Yes, already 3. 3 in a week, less than a week.
All in one homestand.
Yep.
Impressive. Back-to-back days against the Rocks. 6 straight wins for the Padres against teams that have swept the Astros this year. People are upset about that. Just upset so many people. Trying to go for 7 for that. In terms of regular winning streak, they're trying to go for 8 games today.
Build and bridge. Get over using and bridge.
All right, we'll talk about the position changes. We'll take a deeper dive into Jake Cronenworth's start to the season and talk a little bit more about tonight's game. All coming up in the next hour on the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting us over at Sports Station 97 to the Fan. We're giving you and a guest a chance to go away with Weezer on their Weezer The Gathering tour. Get hooked up with flights, a 2-night hotel stay, a pair of tickets to see Weezer, plus meet and greet with the band, and a signed set list thanks to Live Nation and Crust Music. And all you have to do to enter is listen to us on the Odyssey app. Download the free app, create your account, favorite our station, and listen for an hour to get your daily entry and come back each day for another chance to win. This is a national contest. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We are broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Getting ready for Padres and Mariners, the final game of this series. Final game of the homestand. Padres trying to go for a perfect homestand. That'd be something, wouldn't it, Frank?
Yeah. Very reminiscent of last year.
Just, it's in the second one this time instead of the first. They do that, all of a sudden they're back in action. But they did last year. How many games they win last year?
90.
90. Who were the starting pitchers for most of the season last year for the Padres? Not the people you would think. I mean, last year they didn't have Joe Musgrove the entire season, right?
They didn't have Yu Darvish basically the whole season either.
And they didn't have Michael King for most. That's where I was getting to. It's like they didn't have a lot of the guys that they're paying to be their starting rotation. They still won 90 games last year. Your starting rotation last year in terms of players that made the most starts, according to Baseball Reference from last year, was Nick Pivetta, who was great. He had a 5.2 WAR last year. He was 13-3. I mean, he got Cy Young Award votes. I mean, but he was brought in to be like your 4. Am I wrong on that? No. He gave you the most starts last year with 31. Or sorry, 32nd most, 31. Dylan Cease gave you 32 starts last year. Dylan Cease, we're talking about a guy, by the way, that everybody wanted off the team last year. 8-12 with a 4.55 ERA. That was the guy that made the second most starts. Randy Vásquez, who nobody thought was going to be that much of a contributor last year. He had a 2.3 WAR, 6-7, a 3.84 ERA. He gave you the third most amount of innings. And then you had 3 pitchers all give you 14 or 15 starts. That was your rotation. You got 31 out of Pavetta. You got 32 out of Cease. You got 26 starts out of Vásquez. And then you had 14 starts out of Kolek, 15 starts out of Michael King, and 15 starts out of Yu Darvish last year. That team won
15 starts out of King?
Yeah. 5-3. 3.44 ERA. 15 starts.
It feels like he only pitched like
5. That's what it felt like.
I would not have guessed 15. I would have guessed 20, like 7 or 8.
2025 San Diego Padres stats, right? It literally says 15 starts.
No, I'm just saying because
I'm with you though. I'm like now questioning Baseball Reference because it feels like he pitched 5 games last year.
Yeah, because he had to have pitched 5 games in April. And I could only remember him making like 2 starts before getting scratched before Colorado. He didn't pitch again until the postseason. Oh, no, he did. He made like 2 or 3 starts at the end of the year.
He did. He had a couple.
And then had the one outing against the Cubs.
And he didn't start that game. He came in.
No, he came in like
good.
the 4th
He
inning.
looked good.
Yeah, he looked great.
They're like, why did Darvish start when you could have had this guy start? Yeah, he made 15 appearances. He didn't.
I can only make out like 7 or 8, maybe 9.
He made 1 start in March.
Oh, okay.
He made 6 starts in April.
Okay, so 7.
And then in May, he made 3 starts. So he was already up to 10 starts.
He made 5 starts in September?
He made 1 start in August.
And 4 in September.
Remember, because he came back and then he tweaked his
he
tweaked his leg or something, right? His quad or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't a quad. But remember, he had like a leg injury.
Yeah, he tweaked. Right around the same time, Jason Adam tweaked his leg too.
And then he had 4 starts in September.
Wow, he pitched a lot more than I thought.
He gave you 15 starts last year.
Wow.
I mean, you already have however many, like 3 now out of like Walker Buehler. You're about to get 4th. I mean, he's like 4 starts away from being halfway to that point. Some of these guys. I mean, you don't need a lot of starts out of a lot of these players. I mean, it takes more than just like your regular rotation. The Padres won 90 games with Nick Pivetta. I mean, Nick Pivetta carried the majority of the load. I mean, you're going to need somebody to do that, right? I don't know why that can't be Michael King this year, though. 2.87 ERA, 13-5. I mean, Michael King's looked that good this year to start. I mean, Dylan Cease gave you a lot of innings, at least 168 innings. It's not bad, 32 starts, but he didn't really go deep into games. He just gave you 32 starts. So you got 2 pitchers last year to give you 30 starts. You had 1 pitcher in Vásquez give you 26, and then you had 3 pitchers give you 15 relatively. Stephen Kolek had 14 starts last year, and he was traded at the deadline. And then you had a start at a Wandy Peralta. Did he start against the Dodgers? Didn't they win that game? If I do I remember that correctly? Do you remember Wandy Peralta's last? Maybe they didn't win that game. I think, didn't he start him against the Dodgers last year?
They might have as an opener, but
That's right. Yeah, I remember the Padres fans like, "Oh, we're hosed, dude." Wandy Peralta is starting this game. Wandy Peralta got his start last year. I'm pretty sure that was against the Dodgers, if I remember correctly. I'm not going to go find it in the game logs from last year. I thought he did. I thought he got a start against the... Yeah, he did. He started against the Dodgers as a 3-2 loss. Went 1 1/3 inning. No hits, no runs. Heck yeah, Wandy. But anyway, like the whole point of it, like this is to go back to the Nick Pivetta conversation. Like, yeah, it's not great that Nick Pivetta is going to miss some time, but last year you won 90 games and you didn't necessarily have the great... I mean, would you feel comfortable going into a playoff series with this rotation of Nick Pivetta, Dylan Cease, Randy Vásquez, Stephen Kolek, Michael King, Yu Darvish from last year? I guess you would have got something out of Stephen Kolek, who had it's not a 4.18 ERA. Like he was, again, even their number 5 starter, Padres' number 5 starter, was relatively the same stat-wise as everybody else in Major League Baseball. But the other starts that you got, 1 out of Wandy Peralta, you got 2 out of David Morgan, you got 6 out of Kyle Hart, you got 7 out of Ryan Bergert, 1 out of Sean Reynolds. You had 6 starts out of Nestor Cortez last year in a playoff team. 90 wins. He had a 5.47 ERA. You know who else had a 5.47 ERA in 5 starts for the Pods? JP Sears. Matt Waldron made 1 start last year. He's 0-1 of the 7.71 ERA. Went 4 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs on 6 hits, 6 walks. The whole point of that conversation, though, of course, is to talk about the fact that you can survive throughout the year and get guys. It's going to take more than just the 5 starters you had going into the season. I mean, that's not I would not. Maybe I'm wrong, Frank. That rotation that they had last year was not Murderer's Row.
No,
that wasn't Glavin. That wasn't Glavin
Maddox
or Smoltz or Maddox at the top of that rotation.
Not at all.
They won 90 games. Bullpen's good. I think the bullpen's better this year than it was last year. But anyway, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's take a look at Jake Cronenworth for a second. Now, we had Derek and La Mesa call in and say, like, hey, if he continues not to put up results, you might see Toddy a little bit more at second base. I don't think that's that crazy of a statement. But at the same time, I think you got to take a deeper look at what Jake Cronenworth has done from a metric standpoint to see whether or not he's getting lucky or not. If you look at his like traditional stats, he's hitting a $140. He's got a 242 on base percentage. His slugging is 211. OPS 457, which is well below replacement level. He's only got 1 home run. He hit against the Pirates. He has 3 RBIs, 8 runs scored, no stolen bases, and approximately 16, 17 games of work. In terms of his advanced numbers, this is Jake Cronenworth to start the year. His weighted on base average is poor. 2.24 weighted on base average is not good. But his expected weighted on base average is 315, which is close to Major League Baseball average of 316. Most Major League Baseball players get a weighted on base average, weighted on base average of about 316. His expected is 315. He's expected to be producing at an average level, which suggests significant bad luck for Jake Cronenworth. His actual results lag behind expected outcomes based on the quality of contact and plate discipline. Now, the key StatCast metrics that you should pay attention to with Jake Cronenworth that determines the same stuff. It's the same conversation we had last year with who, Frank? Who did we have this conversation about last year with? Xander Bogaerts. Exact same conversation. Slightly different, but pretty much the same conversation. Now, average exit velocity, 89.1 miles an hour, slightly above Major League Baseball average of 88.6. He's in the 46th percentile. Hard hit percentage, 34.1%. That's below Major League Baseball's average of 37%. Puts him in the 23rd to 29th percentile. That's not necessarily good news. Barrel percentage is low, not well below, but below MLB average of 4.9%. His is at 4.5%. Puts him in around the 27th to 30th percentile. Launch angle is very low at 7.8 degrees. I know a lot of people don't care about launch angle, but the reality is his career numbers for his launch angle are approximately 14.5 degrees, which means he's probably hitting the ball on the ground a little bit more. His sweet spot percentage, 27.3%. That's well below MLB average of 33.3%. His expected stats are near MLB average and below average. His expected batting average is near MLB average at a 244. And his expected slug is at 360, which is below MLB average. In terms of the batted ball profile, now this is where I think he runs into a lot of the bad luck. Jake Cronenworth has been extremely ground ball heavy, 54.5% on the ground ball rate this year. And his career, it's 41.2%. His fly ball percentage is down 18.2%. He's not pulling for power as aggressively. This season, kind of ran into the same problem with Fernando when we talked about him before he started to heat up a little bit. Pull percentage is 31.8% with low pull air balls, just like we were talking about with Fernando. Contact quality is middling, more topped and weak contact, fewer barrels and solid hits. His plate discipline is very good, though. Strikeout percentage is 20%. That's solid. It's slightly better than MLB average. His walk percentage, 12.3%. It's strong. It's above MLB average. His whiff percentage, 23.6%. Chase is at 28.4%. Very reasonable discipline, though not elite. It's solid. It's not terrible. It's not great. They're kind of in the middle. Sprint speed remains good. Defense, limited data early. He's looked good defensively so far. Career shows solid versatility of where he can play, as we all know because we've watched him. With positive range metrics in recent years. He's actually gotten better defensively when it comes to the metrics than he had been in the past. Now, he's a solid, versatile infielder with a track record of being a reliable everyday player. He's not a star, but he's valuable for his on-base skills, his positional flexibility, and occasional pop. His career slash numbers are solid. His WRC plus, his weighted runs created plus is 108. That's 8 percentage points better than an average baseball player. He approximately has a 15.2 career WAR, over 3,277 plate appearances. He peaked in 2020 and 2021, which is honestly is that surprising? Is it really surprising? He was a late call up in terms of his age. 2020, 2021 was when he was 26, 27 years old. I think that was kind of the prime of his career, Frank. I really do.
Yeah, I would agree. His offensive numbers, like we've been saying, his offensive numbers have gone down every single year, except for last year where they ticked up 5 points on his batting average. He went from a 241 to a 246 last year. So, yeah, he's been on an offensive downturn since he came up.
If you look at his WAR for overall for his B WAR, 1.6 in 2020 when he was 26 years old. Jumped to 4.8 in 2021 when he was an all-star. Dropped to 3.9 in 2022, also an all-star. 2023, 0.8. Went up to 1.9 in 2024, up again to 2.4 in 2025, a little bit of a resurgence, and now it's back down, albeit a small sample size. But if you look at his overall numbers of like the years that his peak years were 26 when he was 26 to 28 years old. You know, when a grown man in the United States is in his like prime years, it's like anywhere between 26 and 32, which is the last 7 years that we've seen out of Jake Cronenworth. So it's going to continue to traject downward for Jake, but he's been a solid player. Like, he's a steady, everyday player who's going to be okay. He's not a star. He had some star-type years his first couple of years, but he's just not going to be that player anymore. But I will say this. I do think he's going to hit a lot better than he currently is, because I think a lot of the problems he's not hitting well, but he's also not getting lucky in a couple of facets. Typical profile, he's above average walk rate, below average in strikeouts. He's got gap-to-gap power, which is good for Petco Park. Good contact. He's generally been a 2 to 3 WAR player when healthy, with defensive value helping a little bit, which is funny because, like, when you go do these breakdowns, it's like he's really good defensively, he's terrible defensively. He's really good defensively, he's terrible defensively. I think the versatility adds to that value a little bit. But in 2026, this season, Jake Cronenworth's expected weighted on base average at a 315 and his expected batting average aligned closely with career norms and Major League Baseball average, while the actual results are way down. Low launch angle and elevated ground ball rate point to possible swing or approach issues for Jake Cronenworth, and the exit velocity is holding steady to what it has been in the years past, which is a positive sign that raw power isn't gone. So in terms of this overall evaluation, Frank, Jake's going to be better than what he's currently producing at the plate, but he's going to be like kind of around an average Major League Baseball player, which is not terrible to have. You need those guys on your team.
No, you certainly do. And I think a lot of the reason he's drawing so much ire is because he's making as much as he is. He's making $12.4 million for the duration of his contract. And it's a contract that, as we said yesterday, didn't need to happen. It didn't have to be the way it is.
I get that too, but like a player like Jake right now, like I wouldn't give him as long of a deal that he's gotten, but still at this age of where he's at and what he brings to the table, that's kind of $12 million is relatively the going rate for a guy that's kind of an average Major League Baseball player, right? An everyday starter. That's a solid player. That's not spectacular, but not terrible. Those guys are getting around $12 million. I mean, maybe you might be saving like $3 million on somebody else, but he's kind of in the range. I think last year kind of showed that he's kind of in the range.
And but that's where a lot of the ire is coming from, is that he's getting what appears to be a large amount of money for a long period of time to be just that, average. So I understand where the vitriol comes from, but it's not like he's looking at the numbers, it's not like he's a regressing player either. Like, his bat speed is still relatively there. He is getting relatively unlucky. So it's not, I understand where the anger and disappointment and frustration comes from, but it's also, again, not as bad as it looks.
No, this looks like more of a slow start rather than a sudden collapse to Jake Cronenworth. I don't think this is like the beginning of the end for Jake. I mean, small sample variance. You have to give him a little bit of leeway here. And I agree with Tony Gwynn Jr. Like, until these guys start getting at least 100 at-bats, it's kind of hard to really be like, oh, man, this guy's terrible. You know? Like, 57 at-bats is not enough. I think the same thing about, like, Nick Castellanos. He's struggling. Manny Machado's not hitting well. He's hit the ball hard, again, but he's also, like, his numbers aren't super spectacular either. But, you know, the question of Fernando potentially moving to second a little bit more to offset Jake Cronenworth, who plays right field? We'll try to answer that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. San Diego FC has a problem, and it's not talent. It's discipline. Another game, another red card. This time, Christopher McVeigh gets sent off early in the second half, and suddenly San Diego is playing a man down. Again, where have I heard this one before? That's now 6 red cards in their last 6 matches. At that point, this is no longer bad luck. We're starting to see a pattern with San Diego FC. And the worst part, they're still in these games. They're creating chances. Anders Dreyer is generating offense, but they can't finish. They just can't finish, and they can't stay composed. Minnesota's goalkeeper, Drake Callender, made some huge saves, but San Diego had their opportunities. They just couldn't capitalize. If this team wants to be a contender, this has to change immediately, because right now they're not losing to other teams. They're losing to themselves. Another loss, and the same story yet again for San Diego FC, Frank. It's becoming a pattern, and it's not a good one.
Yeah, no, it was a 2-1 loss to Minnesota United FC at Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday night, marking another frustrating result in what is now a growing skid. And once again, it comes down to discipline. As you mentioned before, Christopher McVeigh sent off just seconds into the second half after picking up his second yellow card, forcing San Diego to play nearly the entire second half with 10 men, a man down. That's now 6 red cards in the last 6 matches across all competitions. Let that sink in for a second. 6 red cards in the last 6 matches over all competition. That is an absurd amount of red cards to be getting.
When you talk about the game itself, I mean, San Diego FC actually started off strong. They struck early with a goal from Luca Bambino, making the 100th goal in club history, a milestone moment, obviously, for the young franchise. But defensive lapses quickly erased that momentum. Minnesota equalized off a header from Kyle Duncan and then took the lead before halftime through Calvin Yaboa. From there, the story turned to one man, and that is goalkeeper Drake Callender. He was outstanding. Multiple point-blank saves, especially on Anders Dreyer, kept San Diego from getting back into the game. Even late in stoppage time, Callender slammed the door shut.
Yeah, and the bigger problem is it's not just bad luck at this point. It is what we have to call it, which is it's no longer a rough patch. It's a discipline crisis. Right now, what San Diego FC is facing: 6 red cards in the last 6 matches, multiple games playing a man down, 4-match winless streak across all competition, repeated late game struggles. It has been a big problem. And Captain Yepe Terveskov said it, playing a man down makes everything harder, especially pushing forward to try to finish games. And it hasn't been San Diego FC playing a man down for the last 10 minutes. They've been losing these guys, in this case, early in the second half, but they've been losing these guys early in the first half as well, putting the team in trouble. So while we talk so much about the rest that this team got after the international break, it's all kind of been wiped away with how hard they've had to work for how long they've had to play down a man in these games.
Yeah, what's still working, though, and this is the frustrating part, is San Diego's still creating chances. Dreyer's dangerous every match. Midfield is generating looks. They're staying competitive even down a man, but moral victories don't show up in the standings. And right now they're beating themselves, and it's the back line. It's an inexperienced back line, but also it's not great when some of your veterans in the back line are also making these catastrophic mistakes. And it's something that is so easily fixable in terms of just playing a cleaner game of soccer. That is leading to, I think, even more frustration for San Diego FC fans.
Oh, absolutely. And this is you're going to see a little bit of people getting a little out of control here. This is the first time we've really seen a downturn in form and a downturn in production out of this squad in its very short history. There were some down and low moments last year, but nothing as alarming as this. What you're seeing right now out of San Diego FC is a discipline issue that you don't see many teams have. And the ones that you do see aren't high up in the table. Those are the teams that are consistently having problems. So it'll be interesting to see how San Diego FC comes out of their first real rough patch in the history of the franchise.
The immediate focus is obviously simple. They got to stay disciplined. They got to finish chances, and they got to close out games because the talent is there. But if this continues, it won't matter. San Diego still has time to correct this, but the window is starting to tighten. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. Talking a lot about Jake Cronenworth in the last segment. Again, looking at the analytics, he's getting a little bit of bad luck right now in Major League Baseball. I still think it's a little bit of a small sample size. I think there's room to grow a little bit, but want to hear from you guys. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Scout to Chris in Scripps Ranch, who has a little bit of experience at hitting at the big league level. Chris, what's going on, man? Good to talk to you. Long time no speak.
Yeah, Braden, it's good to talk to you. What analytics are you talking about that says he's getting bad luck?
That would be his expected numbers and his hard hit percentage and hitting it right at people sort of deal.
Well, yeah, the pitch when you're pull happy, hitting a hard ground ball to second base is not going to do it. I don't care what level you're at. But Jake is when he first came up, the guy projected as like a 280 hitter because his swing was more level. He would go up the middle and opposite field. And then something happened when he went to first or whatever reason, he got homer happy and really started to get uppercut to his swing. If you got analytics on his bat angle from his first rookie year or first couple of years versus what he's doing now, seems like he's got more of an uppercut, and he doesn't have fly ball power. There's no reason for this guy to think he can hit fly ball home runs. He's a line drive, gap to gap guy, and he has no touch right now with the opposite field gap. He hasn't had it for a long time. And this guy hit 325 in international league before he got called up, and he had those type of mechanics spraying the ball around the field. And he's underneath everything, and until he decides to really go up there with the initiative to hit a hard ground ball to the shortstop and stay on top of some of these balls, we're going to keep getting a 220, 230 hitter that hits 10 home runs, maybe 12 home runs. And I don't know if that's what we want, but that's what we're going to get.
Here's his launch angle numbers, and it kind of goes with exactly what you're saying. High launch angle, obviously 25 to 50 degrees on it. The lower you go, the lower the launch angle. His launch angle, as you mentioned, Chris, it was 10 degrees when he first came up. Then it went up to 12, and then in 2022 went up to 18. It's gone down to 15, 13, 14, and then this year, Chris, he's actually at a 7-degree launch angle. And his ground ball rate is through the roof right now, which is and his fly balls have gone drastically down in this small sample. But that's just kind of the numbers that they've put out.
Well, when you're rolling over a ball, you're going to hit grounders because you have an extreme uppercut. So he's probably 6 inches in front of the ball at contact where he's hitting the top of the ball with topspin. I'm talking about hitting hard line 1-2 hop ground balls in BP, not rollovers to second base that come off the bat off the sweet spot. He's probably his contact point's too far out in front, and that's why he's getting 7-degree launch angle, whatever that's talking about. I'm not talking about that launch angle. I'm talking about his bat path angle, not the ball coming off the bat. I'm talking about what is his angle of approach to the ball and how long is he staying through the ball at level and then coming out of it with that type of angle, which would take more analytics and more, video to really analyze that.
Would it be something?
Yeah.
Would it be something like a swing path tilt? Is that more what you're?
Yes, correct. Yeah, he's more on his back leg. He's yes.
Off-speed pitches is showing an increase to 34% from 34 degrees last year. It was 32. Breaking pitches were 32. It's up to 33, and then it's actually stayed the same for fastballs, 31%, 31 degrees each way.
And that's the one metric that he has hit the best on the in terms of the bad luck with the fastball. His breaking ball, he's just been awful against, and so is the off speed, Chris.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to say. When you're a hitter, you got to go up there with a clear head, and sometimes you have to have an approach that is you get the pitch you're gonna, or hit the pitch you're gonna get, not the one you want to hit. And when you're struggling, you're just really locked in on the fastball. I'm not realizing the odds are this guy's gonna throw me a get me over slider or get me over curveball, and maybe I should take a shot. When you're going good as a hitter, you feel comfortable until you get to 2 strikes. But taking a shot on one of those first 2 strikes, going, you know what? Let me take a shot. Looking for a change up here or off-speed pitch, and locking in on that because you're in tune with the pitcher and what's going on. When you're lost, you're just going back to the basics and go, I just want a fastball down the middle. And when you do that, you're going to swing and miss on a lot of good off-speed pitches that look like fastballs coming down there. So he's lost. He's lost, and you don't get better until you find the opposite field gap. I think every hitter will tell you that. And if you can't compare, like if you look at the quality of bats of Manny and Castellanos, much better quality. I mean, they're going opposite field. They're hitting the ball, where it's pitched. They have an idea of what's going up there. I mean, Castellanos just missed a couple home runs recently. I mean, I like watching Castellanos hit. And, as far as Tatis going a second, I thought about that too when he was there. I'm like, that's not a bad thing. And maybe make Jake like a super utility guy and right field. I don't know. I mean, Castellanos, I like his bat in there. But we're going to give something up defensively out there. I just, I'm not in that position to really know exactly what you give up with Castellanos out there. But, I mean, I like Ty France at first, and if you get Sheets in left and maybe Laureano can go to right, I don't know. But Ty France is playing a heck of first base. I like his at-bats, great quality at-bats by him. So you got to get Castellanos, Sheets, and France in the lineup. And if that means Jake is out of there, I'm good with that.
Chris, we appreciate the conversation, of course. Thanks again for calling in. Look forward to talking to you again. I'm sure we'll get some OTL talk later on as we get closer to the big tournament, huh?
Absolutely. We'll be in there. We'll be in the mix this year. I appreciate it, Brady.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. And for anybody that has Chris had a pretty good MLB career. Like he's a lot of people go like everybody's a hitting expert, and I like talking to Chris because out of all of our phone callers, Frank, that guy stood in a box at a major league level before. Like he understands a little bit about the situation. I'm going to do some more research on this attack. They have attack angle. Is that what you pulled up? Attack angle?
No, it was a swing path tilt was what I had.
They also have average attack angle. They got a lot of these other things that I'm going to have to do some more research on. But like, if you look at his attack angle, it's through the roof right now, like 21 degrees at the top. So he is, I mean, based on your, like how you watch him swing, he's doing that nasty uppercut swing. Mm-hmm. He's on to something with that. But in terms of like the expected numbers, he has done a little bit better than what his overall results are. But again, he continues to go down. The thing that Chris brings up that's interesting that he's brought up in previous years, like Jake got his contract and then almost like tried to hit to his contract instead of doing that to get the contract.
Well, that's like what I would say. Your stereotypical first baseman is a left-handed power hitter. Jake had the left-handed part down. He needed to have the power hitting part down. And he was never, with the way he was never going to live up to that contract as your stereotypical left-handed power hitting first baseman. So he tried to change his swing. And now that he's back at second base, you just need to be a slap hitter. You need to be able to find the gaps. And he's still trying to get the power. He's still trying to get that uppercut swing.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Chris in San Diego. Chris, what's going on, man?
Hey, just enjoying listening to your show, doing some errands in the car, and just thought I'd chime in. I really thought it was very good comments that the other Chris just had on Jake. And the other day, I think you guys looked at analytics on Tatis and came up with some same type of stuff. And my question is, does anybody pass along that stuff to the players or to the hitting instructor? Any of the comments that you guys have?
Everything that we're doing, Chris, is like the dumbed down version of what the analytic department at the Padres have. These Major League Baseball teams have insane analytic departments that are working on this. And here's the other thing, and Chris, we appreciate the phone call. Like, they knew about all of this stuff before we even talked about it. And it's the process of trying to implement that in a game, right? Like making those adjustments. So this is why you look for some of these, areas of like, well, they're hitting the ball hard and they're doing this, they're doing that, right? So from that perspective, it's hard to just get players to get into these adjustments. It's not going to like work like that. They're going to ease into it. But these are like some of the numbers that you look at to just give you there's reason for optimism because they're putting together good at bats. And these are only brought up, and we mentioned this before, Frank, for small sample sizes.
Yes.
Now, if Jake Cronenworth goes through 3 months of this. You can't say he's not getting lucky anymore.
No.
At that point, it's like, whatever. But since it's so early in the season, and baseball, you can't really evaluate a hitter until at least a couple hundred at-bats, and he's got 57. Instead of people freaking out going like the guy sucks, and people don't want to hear like it's early, you look at this. And these are the numbers you look at to be like, okay, he's probably going to turn things around, right? It's probably not as bad as you think. And the same thing can be said about guys like, that are on a tear, right? Xander Bogaerts has been hitting the ball hard. He's probably one of the most consistent hitters so far in the first 3 weeks of the season for the Padres. But if his numbers were low and he was getting results, he was just like getting, a Texas leaguer every single time, and his hard hit rate was low, and you'd be like, he's getting lucky. That's going to run out soon. And so we can't be super excited about that. But it's interesting, to say the least, about some of these things. But it's good to get some of the value from like the inside look of guys that have played in the big leagues, because not everybody's going to be able to experience that. So it's good perspective from Chris. When we come back, we got a lineup out. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about some of the lineup changes that you could potentially do if you want to move things around in terms of positions. I think the Padres have a lot of weapons with versatility. Padres also made a roster move. We'll tell you about that one as well as we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Final segment, San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. San Diego baseball just had their most telling weekend of the season, and it showed exactly who they are right now. They open with a win behind Steele Murdoch, 17 strikeouts and a program record, absolute dominance. But then they lose an 11-10 game in extras after leading late and drop the series. That's the difference right now. They can compete with anyone, but they're not always finishing games, and that's what separates good teams from championship teams. So here's the question. Is UCSD still learning how to win, or are they ready to make the next step? Because if they figure it out, this team can, in fact, win the Big West, and that, no question about it. What happened this week? Well, it was a roller coaster week for UCSD, the Tritons baseball team, and honestly, one of the most telling stretches of their season. They opened the series against UCSB in the Gauchos with a statement 4-3 win, powered by an all-time performance by Steele Murdoch. 17 strikeouts. That's a program record and one of the top single-game marks in the country this season. He was dominant, 8 innings, no walks, complete control. At that point, UCSD looked like the best team in the conference, but then things flipped.
Yeah, Saturday they lost a wild 11-10 games in extra innings despite coming back from 5 runs down, hitting a go-ahead grand slam in the 8th inning, and leading after that, they just could not close it out. And on Sunday, the offense went completely quiet, a 3-1 loss, dropping the series to UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah, that's the big story. Is UCSD hasn't really mastered yet closing games against the league competition. Where have we heard that story before throughout college baseball and softball in San Diego? They had a late lead Saturday. They lost it. They had strong pitching Sunday, no run support. And that's the difference between a first-place team and a championship team. That's the difference between a first-place team and middle-of-the-road team, or a team that does not end up hanging a banner at the end of the year. And let's be clear. They're still 11-4 in the Big West, still near the top, but they've now seen they can dominate. We've now seen that they can dominate. We've now seen that they can compete, and we've now seen that they don't always finish the game. That matters when you're trying to win a conference.
Yeah, and that domination was Friday, competing Saturday, and then the weekend result was just not being able to get the finish that they needed. Now going over to softball, softball might be heating up after struggling early in conference play. They just swept a doubleheader, won the series against Cal Poly, and just put together one of their best stretches of the season with Malia Cherry now holding the Division I era home run record for Triton softball, and Callie Howard pitching a complete game shutout. So this team starting to figure out things late on the softball side.
What's coming up next for baseball? They now face a huge local matchup. They got a midweek test against the Aztecs, a baseball team that, again, has good pitching, but very inconsistent in terms of like who you're going to see on what given night. Then they go back to conference play, and this is where momentum either stabilizes or starts to slip for the Tritons. I mean, did this weekend prove UCSD isn't quite ready to win the Big West yet? I think they're close. I think they're really close. I think the talent is there. The pitching, especially Murdoch, is starting to be very elite. The offense can explode. We've seen that out of the Tritons this year, but they haven't been able to finish games a lot. And they leave a lot of runners on base. They have consistently, that's the one thing they've done consistently, is left runners on base. But championship teams do one thing consistently, and that's they finish games. So right now, UCSD is still learning that part. If they figure it out, they absolutely can win this conference. If not, they're a dangerous team that just falls short and tries to make a run in the Big West tournament, maybe.
I would say this is probably, of the three teams, of San Diego State, of the Toreros, and now of the Tritons, I think this is the one of the trio that has the best chance at winning a conference and possibly going on further. They have been more the inconsistency is definitely there, but they have been more consistent than the other two. So I think if there's one team in San Diego that was going to advance and make a run at winning the conference, make a run at winning the conference tournament, it would be UC San Diego.
It's kind of like the conversation that we had on Monday during the show, and that was Walker Buehler and Herman Marquez. One, Walker Buehler, had a higher floor, and Herman Marquez had a higher ceiling. I think the Tritons have a higher floor. I think they've been more consistent than everybody else. I think USD's got the higher ceiling, but it's just a matter of whether or not they can achieve those particular spots. Of whether or not they're going to move on. But all three teams in town, San Diego State, USD, and UCSD, all have a pretty good chance of making a run. They also have a pretty good chance of falling apart late, which, again, has been really the subject of this week on our updates. All guests on the 97.3 join us on the SDSU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Padres have made a roster move and have put out a lineup. Now, the roster move for the Padres, they have reinstated infielder Sungmoon Song from the 10-day injured list. And they have optioned him to AAA El Paso.
So nothing has changed.
Not really. He's just, instead of being on a rehab assignment, he's now activated to be a player, and it doesn't count towards his rehab assignment, yada, 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 yada. I'm not surprised by this move at all. I'm really not.
No.
I don't think, because you'd have to make a move with the big league club, and you have to get rid of somebody off this team. That's a position player who has played poorly enough that you want to permanently get rid of.
No one.
Nobody.
Not even Ty France or Castellanos, with how little they've gotten their opportunities, especially France, with how little of an opportunity he's got.
Ty's been hitting pretty well.
Yeah.
He plays, I mean, we know he's a Gold Glover at first, but he's been playing a mean first base. Is that Eric Hosmer on the TV? Or is he doing? He's a color analyst now for the Royals.
Well, at least we know we don't listen to each other.
Yeah. Did you say that earlier?
I told you that like 3 breaks ago.
Oh, that he was up there?
By the way, I
haven't watched that game at all.
I had no idea Eric Hosmer was doing Royals television.
Oh, I didn't know that. He was doing their pre and post not too long ago. He had this huge announcement about it.
Oh.
So that's not surprising to me. I just didn't know he was in the booth today, which I'm sure he does a decent amount.
The Royals, by the way, you wanted to worry about the Padre offense. The Royals now just put up 6 runs in the 7th inning in Detroit, and then it started to bucket down rain. This is only the 3rd time this season where the Royals have scored more than 4 runs in an inning.
Wow.
As was given to us by the Royals stat team that put it on television.
Thank you. Their version of Chiron Bob?
Yeah.
Nice.
Lower third, Louis.
The Angels actually going to hang on to this one. Did you see how the Angels lost last night?
No. I saw that Trout became the first player in history to hit home runs in 4 straight games at Yankee Stadium. First visiting player to hit home runs in 4 straight games at Yankee Stadium.
His family was there last night. You know what's good to see? It's good to see Mike Trout be vintage Mike Trout.
You know what?
I just hope it doesn't happen this weekend.
I was going to say, you know what? That would be cool if the Padres weren't going to Anaheim this weekend.
It's okay.
Or Los Angeles, my bad.
That's a foul.
Well,
he draws the foul.
You siding with Artie Moreno or the fans?
No,
Your choice.
I was being sarcastic when I said Los Angeles.
They're not giving you a credential tomorrow. That has now been denied. You got to go say out of the pre and post guy over there for me.
Okay.
His son's a TCU Horned Frog. He just called me yesterday about like getting in the business and stuff like that.
Nice.
It's like, why are you calling me? The kids never listen to their parents. It's like, should you talk to your dad?
Is your dad in the business?
Yeah, shouldn't he know?
That seems like somebody who would kind of know.
Right. All right. Speaking of the Halos, this is how they lost last night. So they go into the ninth inning. In the bottom of the ninth inning, the Angels have a 4-3 lead in the ninth. And they get walked off they got walked off the other night too. Didn't they get walked off on Monday?
I think
they did. They got walked because Monday's game was a shootout.
Yes, yeah.
And they lost,
was the 11-10 game, yeah.
Yeah, and they lost on that. I don't know if they won the game on Tuesday, but last night's game. So they bring in Jordan Romano. Comes in for Drew Pomerantz. Wow. Drew Pomerantz still employed. Can't believe it.
And actually doing something with his employment.
Yeah, not just eating ice cream. Giancarlo Stanton started the inning lining out to left field. And Bryce Teodosio?
Sure.
Teodosio? Whatever. Some Angels player. He makes an unbelievable catch over his head. Out number 1. Jazz Chisholm then pops up to the infield. Shortstop and third baseman of the Angels, which was, I think, Oswald Peraza.
Mm-hmm.
Who plays shortstop for the Angels? Do you know off the top of your head? I can't remember off the top of my head.
If it's not...
That would be...
If it's not Christian Moore is the second baseman. I don't...
No, it's Neto.
Oh, yeah, Zach Neto.
So pop up in between Peraza and Neto. They both call it.
And let me guess, they both let it drop?
They both stop. They both look at each other in the eyes, and it goes right between them. Jazz Chisholm gets a single. And now the tying run is on base.
No, that's an error. I'm sorry.
He gets a single. He gets a single. It's marked as a single.
Yeah, that's called favorable home scoring is what that's called. That's an error.
Single. That's a single in baseball. They're going to always realize it. You don't get the brain fart error. So Jazz Chisholm gets a knock, then steals second. And what should have been 2 outs and facing now Austin Wells. You now have a runner on second with 1 out in the ninth inning. Logan O'Hoppe tries to challenge ball 4 to Austin Wells. It fails. Austin Wells walks. Now you got runners on first and second.
Not the worst thing.
With
Puts
1
a double
out.
play in order.
And then it was Jose Caballero doubled on a line drive to center. Hits the ball to
that's
center.
Not great.
Jazz Chisholm scores. Austin Wells comes around. Throw comes in. Tag just misses Austin Wells, and the Angels lose. Angels, man. I tell you what, as much as the Angels are like my American League team, I don't mind the Angels. I'm not going to be excited at all if they win this weekend, but the Halos, like, they're off to a better start than I thought they would. I thought they were going to be terrible. They're 9-10, but the way they lost last night shows that they're probably going to be terrible.
Yeah,
that was rough.
Yeah, and then they'll lose on the wild pitch on Monday. That ain't great either. We're going to try to get either Wayne Randazzo back on the show or Terry Smith for tomorrow. We're we're trying to connect with.
I'm sure we can get that
Angels
kid's
PR.
dad if you want.
Yeah, probably could.
That's for Trent Rush.
Well, it's already sent the email.
Send another one. We'll also take Trent Rush. Just don't tell me it was our third option.
Well, they're
you ask
also
about Anteater basketball.
they're also still playing and then have a cross country flight. So I'm pretty sure we'll get an answer later tonight.
Let's get to they're winning right now. Or do they win? The game's
It's
over
11,
finally?
No, it's 11-4. They're still playing.
They can't possibly screw that game up, right?
Ye of little faith.
Right?
I have watched enough New York Met baseball.
That game's
oh,
over.
No,
They
it is
won
over.
11-4.
Well, now they can't screw it up.
Now they can't screw it up. All right, lineup today. Padres lineup today. Laureano, Tatis, Merrill, Machado, Bogart, Sheets, Andujar, Campusano, Cronenworth. Reports from the clubhouse say that Rodolfo Duran is there. We haven't gotten a corresponding move for that. He's just there. Obviously, probably as a precaution for Fermin. And if Fermin goes on the 10-day injured list, or what's the concussion one, like 8 days
It's
or
a
something like that?
7-day concussion protocol.
If he goes on that list, then maybe they activate Rodolfo Duran. I don't know. Does that count? Did they make it? Does that one count for options on the 7-day list?
I do not
There might be
know.
special rules to the concussion list.
I'm wondering if there's like a taxi list because
there are 3 players that I think there is a taxi group
in hockey. For example, this is how you got David Ayers a couple years ago. One goalie gets hurt, backup comes in, then another goalie gets hurt. There's an emergency catch. There's an emergency goaltender who's usually just on staff, played goaltender at some level of hockey, but he's there just in case both guys get hurt. I wonder if there's a case where there's like a taxi or like an emergency catcher, or if there would be like some sort of, especially like if you run out of guys on the bench, you need to have a catcher. That's an important position.
Yes.
I wonder if there's like an emergency catcher role that Rodolfo Duran would be. Maybe bring in bullpen catcher.
I don't think
possibly.
you can. I don't think they have one of those. It's not like hockey where you have like the math teacher at the local high school. So you're like emergency third. I want to know who is the emergency catcher for the Padres, because in years past it was Will Myers.
Yeah.
I'm curious who that person is.
Jake may as well be.
Was it Jake? I mean, I think Jake might have been the guy that he might have been the self-proclaimed guy, but I don't know exactly who it was. I thought about that last night too, because Luis Campusano is not very fast.
Apparently,
and Luis Campusano was representing the tying run last night. And the reason you can't really pinch run for him, because then who's going to catch?
Go Aztecs just said it's Ty France. They mentioned it on the broadcast last night.
No,
a couple
nice,
guys
Ty.
are mentioning now. So Ty France is the emergency catcher.
So I guess they and I guess they could have had
so it's not
Bryce Johnson pinch run for Campusano. Then if you ended up going to extra innings, you could have moved Ty France to catcher. They didn't sub him out yesterday, did they?
Ty France? I don't think so.
I mean, you get to a situation where you pinch hit or pinch ran for Ty France, then you would have been really in a jam. But I don't think that's the case. I think he stayed in the game yesterday. Yeah, he was in the game yesterday. I would have pinched. I was surprised they didn't pinch run for him with 2 outs, but I think it was because of the
Yeah,
you obviously don't want Ty
backup.
France catching Mason Miller. Hey, yeah, I know you're an emergency catcher.
do me a
but
favor.
Can you? We're bringing Mason in.
Mason.
He would be like, you know what he'd be like, JT Realmuto on that meme where he like rolls his eyes, he's upset. That'd be for like, are you kidding me?
Mason, please.
Don't break
Do
his
me
hand.
a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
Fastballs only. And like dial it back just a little bit.
It's okay if they put it in play. We got a defense. I know you don't like doing that. It's okay.
It's more democratic.
Yeah. We'll tell you how the Padres do tomorrow. Gwen and Chris coming up next. 5:40 Padres game today. For Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. We'll be back tomorrow. See ya.